to learn and study, is there some things that we can pay attention to and look at how it can be innovated upon? So this is one of the questions we had that were unanswered. So I just want you to take us through. Number one, has there been any innovation within the Ifa system? What does Ifa say about innovation? That's the first question. Is there anything that Ifa has said about innovation, even within it and outside of it? And then we can proceed with the other questions, sir.
Okay, thank you. Once again, permit me to stand on a system protocol. Mo ṣe àbọ̀rú, mo ṣe àbọ̀yè, mo ṣe àbọ̀ ṣíṣe. In Isese, before you lay emphasis on anything, it is important to give Iba, which is called homage. So on this premise, on this regard, I dedicate my Iba to Eledumare. Also, my Iba goes to the entire Irumoles, from Orunmila Baragbamirigun, the father of wisdom, to Obatala, to Ṣàngó, to Ògún, Èṣù Ọláìlú, who is the founder of innovation, in which I wanted to talk about tonight. Because the idea that people are now using today, Èṣù Ọláìlú is the owner of idea. Just mention the idea, and that is why we refer to Èṣù as Abániwárà Bárìdá. It is not Abániwọ́ràn Bárìdá. It is called Abániwárà Bárìdá, meaning that if you fail to think, if you fail to develop yourself, if you fail to advance yourself, if you fail to proceed in your research, Èṣù Ọláìlú will surely put you through. That is why we call the Èṣù as Abániwárà Bárìdá. So on this premise, I give my Iba to Èṣù Ọláìlú, my Iba to Ẹgbẹ́. Also, mo ṣì bá ọkùnrin that will be listening to this program tonight or these hours of days. Also, my Iba goes to ọkùnrin, obìnrin, to the young and to the old. Now, let me start. You know, there's no way we want to. Okay, firstly, let me try to dissect what we have to discuss tonight. Innovation in Ifa. Yes, innovation in Ifa, it is as old as man. Because this innovation that we were talking about, its adventure, its commencement does not start today. It is as old as man. And that is why I give kudos to you, the host, for stating the example of Ikinfa to Opele. That's what brought to that. Yeah, I will try to explain that. Firstly, because of those people who are layman, who are skeptic, for the sake of those people who don't really understand what Ifa entails. So I will try to start from simple, then before I move to complex. Now, what is Ifa? Ifa is a polysemous word. What I mean by polysemous is that it has more than one meaning, but it depends on how you see it. It depends on your perspective. It depends on your school of thought. Some people, they see Ifa as a definitory system. Of course, when we are trying to define, we are trying to seek for clarity for something that is not cleared. We are trying to shed light on something that is hidden. We are trying to disentangle from what is tangled. Now, that is Ifa as a definitory system. Of course, Ifa as a messenger of Eledumare, because we use Ifa interchangeably with Orunmila, because Orunmila is the custodian of Ifa. So, fortunately, we try to name Orunmila as Ifa. Okay. Also, Ifa is a mode of worshipping. Ibo, mode of veneration. Ọ̀nà tá ń gbà fi ṣe ìbọ. Now, to make it simple, based on my own knowledge, my own research, Ifa is a word of Eledumare. Òun ni. Ifa is an esoteric word of Eledumare, given to Orunmila, dedicated to Orunmila Baragbamirigun for the guidance of humankind. But if I said for the guidance of humankind, it means I've tried to limit the powers of Ifa. Because in Somodufa, you will be hearing Orunmila Difa fún Igbo, bush, Igbo létí.
Yes.
Ọ̀rúnmìlà consulted Ifá for ọ̀nà, ọ̀nà di ẹlẹ́ni. Ọ̀rúnmìlà consulted Ifá for ocean, lagoon, stream, wọ́n di ọlọ́pọ̀ èèyàn. Meaning that Ifá is applicable for both living component and non-living component. And that is why I usually said it to people that in Ifa, everything is living thing. It is because you don't know how to communicate. That is why we believe that some things are not living things. We ask, science try to say that we have living things and we have non-living things. But as far as Ifa is concerned, everything has life. For example, if you know how to communicate with water, you will realize that the kind of assignment that human being cannot discharge, that water will surely do it. For example, they said, omi ò lápá, omi gbégi, omi ò lẹ́sẹ̀, omi gbéyàn lọ o, ìṣòro ayé mi o, omi gbé lọ. Among we human beings, who among us can carry others people problem? No. But water, ocean, they can easily discharge the duty that human being cannot even do. Can we now categorize water, ocean as living component or non-living component? They are living components, but that is a story for another day. But in order not to squander much of our time, Ifa as an esoteric word of Eledumare, given to Ọ̀rúnmìlà Baragbọ́nmìrègún for the guidance of humankind. In this Ifa, there is a lot of philosophy that Ifa connotes. There's a lot of teachings that Ifa connotes. Ifa taught us a moral. Wọ́n ní kámúrágbá tarágbá ìwà láńwá ìwà. Kámúrágbá tarágbá ìwà láńwá ìwà. That is all what we want is character. Ifa tried to entrench this. Ifa taught us about our ways of life. Bó láti ṣe, Ifa ní ojúmọ́mọ́ kẹ́ni ó kíni. Babaláì kíni sálòdì ẹni. That is, if you woke up in the morning as an elderly person, the younger one are expected to greet you. Ifa stated here that bí bàbá bá jí, bọ́mọ bá jí, ọmọ á kí bàbá. Bí bàbá náà bá jí, bàbá náà á kí ọmọ. Bọ́ aya bá jí, aya á kí ọkọ. That is to say, a good wife should try to greet her husband whenever she woke up in the morning. That is one of our ways of life. And it is one of the major advancements, the major advantage that Yoruba culture possess over other culture. Torí pé Yorùbá nìkan ló máa ń dọ̀bálẹ̀ kíyàn. Yorùbá nìkan ni ó prostrate. In Yoruba settings, you have to kneel down to greet an elderly person if you are female. If you are male, you have to prostrate. And these practices was embedded in Ifa. Ifa said, "Wurukuruku la yika, gbọ̀rọ̀gbọ̀rọ̀ la dídọ̀bálẹ̀." Ifa even describe it. Now, in order not to waste our time, to go straight to the point, to the question. Now, you now said innovation in Ifa. Firstly, what is innovation? Innovation simply means bringing up of a new idea to an existing one. Something that has been practiced. Something that has a laid down rules. Now, you now bring up a new idea to make that thing easy, to bring advancement, growth, development to the practice or to the practices. Yes, in Ifa, there were a lot of innovation. In fact, like I said initially, that this innovation in Ifa that we were talking about, it is as old as man. For example, in Ifa, there's something we call the Akoshefa, which is called Ifa medicine. This Akoshefa usually arise as a result of Ifa prescription. Ifa is the one who will prescribe Akoshefa to the client. Let me say client, because someone who came or who seek for your help, for your assistance, who need your service should refer to as your client. Now, this Akoshefa that we are talking about, it is called Ifa medicine, which is the aggregation of Ifa knowledge, approaches towards the uses of herbs, some animal, some plant, and some other items available in the universe for the solving of human problem, to bring prosperity, to bring favor, support, or what have you. Now, this Akoshefa that we were talking about, it is as a result of innovation. Because in one Odufa, Otaorile Laworile, I don't want to chant more of Ifa, but I will try to chant because that is the only point of reference. Ifa ni Otaorile Laworile, gbòǹgbò orílẹ̀ láwo orílẹ̀, òtú yẹ́rìyẹ́rì awonú oko, adífá fún Ọ̀rúnmìlà bá fún mojú sògbérè rere gbogbo. You see, in this Odufa, Ọ̀rúnmìlà was facing a lot of issues, especially financial issues. Ọ̀rúnmìlà keep on doing Ìdáfá, casting his Ikenfa. You know, there's no way you will cast Edifa without do Ebo. So Ọ̀rúnmìlà have been doing the series of Ebo, yet the situation still remain the same. There's no improvement. And don't forget that Eshuodara is the close friend to Ọ̀rúnmìlà. Now Ọ̀rúnmìlà now ask Eshuodara, what is the way forward? I've keep on giving appeasement to Yami, doing Ìdáfá, offering to the different Orisha, following the instruction from the Ìdáfá. Okay, Eshuodara said, Ọ̀rúnmìlà, I think there's much to it. That is why I said Eshuola Ilu is the founder of innovation. Anybody that come up with a new idea, he or she should give an accolade to Eshuola Ilu. And if you are trying to bring an idea, if you are trying to come up with a new idea and you find it difficult to come up with something, go and give appeasement to Eshuola Ilu. Eshuola Ilu will surely give you a way out. Now, Eshuola Ilu said, Ọ̀rúnmìlà, I think there is something that we have to do. And that is the adventure of Eshuola Ilu to Eledumare abode. So on getting there, Eshuola Ilu was able to receive 201 Akoshefa, basically Awure. Awure is a kind of Akoshefa meant for to balance economic situation. And on that day, Eshuola Ilu was able to receive 201 Akoshefa, which is Awure. Now, on that day, Eshuola Ilu now told Ọ̀rúnmìlà that it is not that the Ebo that you are performing. In fact, the way Babalawo was supposed to do it for you, they follow the protocol. It is not that the Babalawo are not competent. It is not that you personally that you are facing the nightmare. It is not that your Ori is against you, but you still have to learn some things. You still have to advance, and that is the basis for my journey to Eledumare's abode to come up with Akoshefa called Awure. And since that day, Ọ̀rúnmìlà have been working with Awure. Now, what that if I really want us to understand is that sometimes you have to apply Eboriru to tackle some situation. Also, you have to apply Akoshefa, which is the Ifa medicine, to tackle some situation. For example, ẹni tí inú run tẹ wá ń ka kúlẹ̀ aláòlé lórí kò lè san bí ó ṣe pé kẹ́ ẹ wóògùn irun. I'm not trying to talk down on any religion, but I'm just saying the fact. So what Eshuola Ilu did is innovation. He come up with a new idea, because if you take an Akoshefa, the aim and objective of Akoshefa is to bring prosperity. It is to help you to be victorious upon your enemy, to make your journey smooth. Then if you try to do Ebo, the purpose of the Ebo is to bring blessing, to bring prosperity, to bring wealth, to bless you with a longevity. Meaning that Akoshefa and Eboriru, they work hand in hand. They are for the same purpose. But Eshuola Ilu now come up with a new idea in order to make the ways of Ọ̀rúnmìlà to be simple. Now, in to the modern age that we find ourselves, if any Babalawo is not ready to apply innovation to what he or she is doing, I'm telling you, the Babalawo his knowledge will be outdated. Because innovation is like upgrading an operating system of your computer or of your cell phone. If you fail to upgrade your operating system, automatically your cell phone, your gadget won't be able to perform some task. And that is the same thing applicable to innovation. For example, let's look at what we are doing tonight. We are trying to educate ourselves. We are we are passing information, we are disseminating information. I sat at my house in Oyo, Nigeria. I believe people are listening to us from America, from England, from Brazil, from Spain, and the likes, without even we seeing ourselves. But innovation has made this easy. But what are we doing? We are still trying to disseminate the knowledge of Ifa instead of us to follow the conventional system. Because what we are doing, our forefathers also, they have been doing it. There's something we call Okuawo, whereby you went to your Babalawo, your Oluwo, to study Ifa. You sit down there, they will chant the Ifa for you. So if you are a permanent Omawo, you sleep there. If you are a temporary Omawo, you go back to your house. But as a result of the technology, I don't have to go to my Oluwo again. I can easily call my Oluwo, maybe via Zoom, Skype, Facebook, and other means of communication, which it will surely make it happen. But don't forget, the content, the message that we were trying to disseminate, the knowledge that I'm trying to get, I'm trying to learn, is still there, which is the Ifa. So if we were trying to practice the so-called innovation, the message, the content, the concept that we were trying to do, it should remain its originality. We should not say because we want to use innovation, then the content, the substances that what we are trying to do contain, the innovation should not water it. And that is why I would like to say people try to misunderstand innovation to improvisation. There is difference between innovation and improvisation. When I'm innovating, it means the content that I'm working with, it will remain with its originality. For example, in olden days, when you want to keep your ikenfa, it is either you put it inside the ceramics, awama, or inside a wooden vessel, ọpọ́n, ibẹ̀ náà máa ń kó fá sí. It's either kẹ́ kó sínú ọpọ́n àbí kẹ́ kó sínú awamọ̀. Now, innovation now come. We are now using the ceramics and lo àwo òyìnbó láti fi kó fá sí. You will realize that the Ifa will still maintain its originality in as much the purpose that the àwo òyìnbó is serving is the same as the ọpọ́n, is the same as the awama. Do we understand? You know, in olden days, the house of Orisha, we try to beautify it with cow dung, butter, òun la fi máa ń palẹ̀ òrìṣà nígbà kan. In fact, if you are able to sleep in that room, I'm telling you, you will thought that they try to install an underground air conditioner because everything will be so cold. It will be so cold. But you know, innovation has now come to the extent that we were able to use cement floor, tile floor, marble for the house of Orisha. But don't forget, the Orisha that we will put here will still remain its originality. Floor is floor. But situation whereby what we are practicing, we've now used innovation to deviate from the norms. We've deviate from the principle. We've deviate from the laid down rules. You know what we are trying to achieve, we won't be able to achieve it. And that is why a lot of people, they were saying that Ikenfa, instead of casting Ikenfa, there should be an application that should be able to cast Ifa for us. If you use an application to cast Ifa for yourself, I'm telling you, you won't see a good result. Yes, because we should not forget that Ifa, there is a principle, there is a guides. Let me try to make a reference to one Odufa Irosunmeji. Ifa said, "Aere oku ìwọ nìkan ṣoṣo nínú oko, ẹ̀rù bàbá níjù, ó dijọ́ tójò bá rọ̀ káyéré ó tó dẹlẹ́ni." Aere, it is a farmstead or an hut built inside a bush. Ifa yẹn wá sọ wípé aere oku ìwọ nìkan ṣoṣo nínú oko, meaning that aere, it will be alone because nobody will sleep inside the bush. Even if we went to the farm in the morning, When it is night, we surely return back home. Meaning that the ahéré, the farmstead, the hut will be alone. Now, ahéré ó kù wọ nìkan ṣoṣo nínú oko, ẹ̀rù ọba bà níjù. Ó dijọ́ tójò bá rọ̀ káyéré tó dẹlẹ́ ni. Meaning that when rain is falling, people will try to move back to the ahéré that they've ignored. So those are the Olúwo who casted Ifá for Ègbè Ọ̀pẹ. Ọmọ bíbí inú àgbọn mèrègún. Òwò tí màá ṣe là nífá tífá bá wu méjì máa tẹ̀ kan. That is where I'm going. That is what I want to pinpoint. Pé tífá bá wu méjì máa tẹ̀ kan, meaning that the Ikenfa that we were casting, it is not a matter of Babalawo just printing 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. No. There is a principle that governs it. There is a guide. There is a law and order that supported it. It is not that Babalawo will just be printing 2, printing 1, 2, 1. No. There is a guide. There is a rule. And the rule was tífá bá wu méjì máa tẹ̀ kan, meaning that if the Ikenfa remains 2 in your left palm, you have to print 1. If the Ikenfa remains 1 in your left palm, you have to print 2. Meaning that there is a rules that govern it. There is a principle that govern it. Now, let's now think about this. Somebody now introduce Now, somebody now came up with an application that wants to do Idafa with Ikenfa for us. Between me and you, do you think that application will come up with a genuity? That Ikenfa will be so, that application will be so real compared to the Idafa in the conventional way? No, it can't. It can't. Because during the casting of Ikenfa with a manual way, with the conventional system, a lot of secrets usually come up. For example, when Babalawo are casting Ikenfa, they will be pronouncing the Odufa. Through the pronouncing and chanting of the Odufa, the person in which they are casting Ifa for may be even picking 1 or 2 solutions to his or her problem. But if you are using the application, if you are using the application won't be able to do any preamble. It will just go straight. Okay, the Odufa for the divination is Ejiogbe, and that's all. Meaning that we can't substitute human energy, human labor to mention or to the application when we are talking about Ifa. We count. Ifa said, we count if we want to maintain our originality. And you see, there's something that people don't really understand. There is difference between civilization and westernization. If we were mixing the two concepts together, we won't get it right. Civilization, it is as old as man. Yes, civilization simply means broad development in a society. Broad development. It is a self-development. It is intrinsic. It is not extrinsic, so to say. Fún ara mi ni màá develop ara mi. Àwọn bàbá wa ti ní ọ̀làjú, òyìnbó kọ́ ló kọ́làjú wá bá wa. We should give it to Ọbàtálá. Ọbàtálá is the one who taught us about aṣọ híhun, bá a ṣe hun aṣọ, cloth weaving. Ọbàtálá ló já wọn bá ń ṣe hun aṣọ. Mo ṣe máa ń wá àwọn kan wípé wọ́n sọ wípé ìhòòhò náà bàbá wa máa ń rìn, kò sóòṣà kankan tó rìn ní ìhòòhò. Because ẹ má gbàgbé pé Èṣù ọlá ìlú is the brain behind idea, the way by which you will do things tó fi máa rọrùn. Ọtí ọkà, wine made from sorghum bicola, Èṣù ọlá ìlú is the brain behind it. Ẹmu, Èṣù ọlá ìlú is the one that taught Ògún Olúrànọlá, kindly take one of your tools, try and drill this tree. The water that is coming there, that is called Ẹmu. You can drink it. You can use it to venerate your icon. Ọtí àgàdàǹgídí, it is a kind of wine made from banana. Èṣù ọlá ìlú is also brain behind it. Now, so what I'm trying to say in essence is that civilization, every society, every ideal nation have their own civilization already. And bàbá wa, ọ̀nà jámọ̀ wípé we have Dandogo, we have Sokoto Kembe, we have Sokoto Atu and the likes. Ṣé òyìnbó ló wá dé ló kọ́ wa bọ́n ṣe rán ṣòkòtò? Ṣé òyìnbó ló sọ fún wa pé ká máa dé fìlà sórí? Òyìnbó kọ́ o. àwọn bàbá wa civilization wọn it is as old as man, but tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa westernization, òun ni adopting or copying of a western idea, western ways of life, tá a bá wá copy ẹ̀ wọnú títí wa, òun ni nǹkan tá à ń pè ní westernization. Èyí ni tọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn dẹ̀ ń ṣe kí ni tó ń dà papọ̀ nínú òrìṣà wa. A lè ṣe tán pè ní westernization kò work, àyàfi a kàn lè lo as a means lásán ni. But tá a bá sọ pé a wá fẹ́ fi substitute àwọn nǹkan kan pẹ̀lú nǹkan tá à ń ṣe, kò lè work. Òun ni bẹ̀lẹ̀ ti máa rí pé èèyàn tó sọ pé òun fẹ́ dáfá, tó ń dáfá pẹ̀lú application, you want to do ìdáfá and you want to use an application, you won't get it right. You won't get it right. You won't get it right. A lè sọ pé ayédáyé ọ̀làjú ká sọ pé a nídìí àtọ̀mọ́ sperm àti egg ká tó bímọ. We still need it. We still need it. So nǹkan tó jẹ́ original yẹn. Now fún ìbéèrè ibi tẹ́ wá lọ, ṣe rí Ìkìnfá àti ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, variation ò rí ní pọ̀ jù láàrin wọn. Variation pọ̀ láàrin wọn. Tẹ́ ẹ bá wo, if you look critically into Ìkìnfá and ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, you will realize that they follow the same trend. They follow the same way, the same pattern. Because the same Odu that you chanted, if you use Ìkìnfá, the same Odu is that you will also chant the same Odu if you use Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. So Ọ̀rúnmìlà just use Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ to make things easy for him. And all what we are saying, the uses of Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, Ìṣọ̀lá Ìlú is still brain behind it. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, Ìṣọ̀lá Ìlú is still brain behind it. So in as much Ọ̀rúnmìlà does not substitute Ìdáfá with any other items, if you want to follow the practice of Ọ̀rúnmìlà, you have to follow what he do. Ifá said, and I quote, òfìká òfìkó, òfin tí bàbá mi filẹ̀ ni mo fi wọn sọ. Adífá fún ọba ó fi òfin ọ̀la lẹ̀dọ́mọ rẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́ òfìká òfìkó, òfin tí bàbá mi filẹ̀ mo fi wọn sọ. Meaning that if you want to practice Ifá, you have to follow the laid down rules. Yes, you can't just woke up one day and say, I came up with an idea. No. In as much, Ọ̀rúnmìlà is not the one that came up with the idea. But if you are talking about innovation in Ifa in a modern time, now innovation has helped us to document Ifa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, it has helped us to document Ifa àti lè kọfá sínú ìwé. But as a competent babaláwo, you are not expected to be reading Ifa from book. As a competent babaláwo, Ifá let us understand that àìgbọ́fá là ń wòkè, Ifá kan ò sí ní para. I'm not talking about those people who are not babalawo. Babalawo is different from Ifa devotees. Babalawo is the one who studied the knowledge of Ifa, who can interpret the knowledge, the scholars. So we don't expect the scholars of Ifa now to bring a book. That is not the way Ifa was. No. Yet we can document Ifa. We can archive it so that the knowledge will be passed from one generation to another. So as a result of innovation, we are able to document Ifa. We are able to preserve Ifa. You know, preservation, it is varies. Some people, they documented Ifa maybe through visual, through audio visual. People make videos to document Ifa. Also, the innovation works in technology. Yeah, technology use. For example, there's one mobile app called Scribe. You know, with aid of Scribe, Scribe serves as a mobile library where a lot of Ifa knowledge has been stored, has been preserved, has been kept for people to consult it. So we should try to appreciate technology because innovation helps in such a way. Education and a global teaching, like I've said initially, you know, Ifa, the system of teaching and learning Ifa in a conventional way, it has to be you and your Oluwo. You have to sit down. You have to go there physical and learn your Ifa. But with the aid of innovation, you know, we were able to come up with the different ways, like a Skype, WhatsApp, TikTok, X app, and the likes. People are able to study Ifa. In fact, when you are sleeping, you can study Ifa. When you are walking, you can study Ifa because we have an audio book whereby they will be chanting Ifa and you'll be listening to it. Or we have audio book. You know, we have to appreciate technology for making things easy. Also, in terms of ethnobotany and science, I as an ethnobotanist, you know, there are some akoshefa that will just accept their potency based on dogma. Wọ́n ní ó máa ń rí bẹ́ẹ̀, àdẹ̀gbà kó máa rí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni. There is no scientific proof for it. And in science, anything that you can't prove, we won't be able to authenticate it. But I, as an ethnobotanist, we've tried to conduct so many research to validate Ifa efficiency. For example, in my MSc, because I'm a product of the University of Ibadan, for my MSc program, for my thesis, so I try to work on 16 Odufas with their ethnobotanical uses, meaning that Odufa tó ní ewé Ifá nínú. Now, this ewé Ifá, for example, in Odu Owanisogbe, so in that Odufa, Ifá talks about Ologesa. Ologesa is a species of bird. Tó jẹ́ wípé this bird wọ́n face the issue of epidemics tó ń pa wọ́n, they keep on dying. Okay, now Ologesa went to Babalawo. Babalawo, what is the genesis? What is the causes of this premature death? Babalawo said that it is as a result of illness that he will try to give them akoshefa, and the recipe for the akoshefa is 200 ewe jogbo Andrographis peniculata. So the Babalawo used 200 pieces of ewe jogbo to mix the akoshefa. Now, after the Babalawo prepared the akoshefa, so Ologesa, he administered it orally. So what Ologesa realized is that the illness that makes them to die prematurely, the illness goes away, and they were blessed with longevity. That is Ifa. That is what Ifa said. Okay, how do we now want to accept this? In science, we don't believe in we don't, anything that is not empirical, science will not allow it. Okay, I now try to take the away the Andrographis peniculata. I try to carry out my experiment. What are the phytochemicals that this away contains that will be able to boost the immune, that will serve as immune booster, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-fungi, and the likes? Fortunately for me, I realized that ewe jogbo Andrographis peniculata is a good immune booster. It is because the immune of Ologesa was very weak. That is why the illness killed them easily. But this ewe was able to build, to boost their immune system. Do you now realize that the Ifa knowledge and the science knowledge, they work together? It is not like a key and lock. So as a result of innovation, bringing up of a new idea, we were able to validate the knowledge of Ifa that, Ifa is 100% real. What Ifa said, it was correlated with what science said. Now, also in the aspect of research as well. So we were able to conduct a lot of research, like I said, to know, okay, this thing that our ancestors are telling us, how true was it? Okay, if we try to subject it into test, are we going to get the same result? Like this ewe called Pistia stratotus, ewe ojuoro. The ewe ojuoro, Pistia stratotus, was used for a barren woman who was unable to conceive. Unfortunately, the woman conceived in Nejiogbe. Okay, we try to carry out our experiment that what are the phytochemicals that this a particular ewe ojuoro contains that makes that woman to conceive. And we realize that ewe ojuoro is very, very potent in order to combat any issues that related to reproductive organ in woman. Meaning that any woman that is having issues with her reproductive organ, how is she going to conceive? She won't be able to conceive. But the Babalawo in Ejiogbe use ewe ojuoro, Pistia stratotis, to treat, to heal the barren woman, and the woman conceived. Therefore, the knowledge of Ifa was validated with the scientific knowledge, meaning that the knowledge of Ifa is 100% accurate. You know, we were able to say this, we were able to prove this based on innovation that we were talking about, bringing up of a new idea to existing one. Yet, the knowledge of Ifa, there is nothing that we can use to compare Ifa. Ifa is always accurate. So, my recommendation and my conclusion is that we Onisese, we should not try to restrict ourselves. We should continue studying. Yes, we should continue conducting our research, because Ifa said, and I quote, "Inú du ọlọ́gbọ́n méjì, Ifá ní ọlọ́gbọ́n kan ò gbọ́ngbọ́n kó ta kókó mi sétí aṣọ, mọ̀nàmọ́ná kó mọ iye pẹ́lẹ̀, láyìnà ká ò débilẹ̀ gbé pẹ̀kún, adífá fún Ọ̀rúnmìlà bá lọ gbọ́gbọ́n lé Elédùmarè, Ifá ńlẹ̀ akéré finú sọgbọ́n." Meaning that Ọ̀rúnmìlà, before Ọ̀rúnmìlà could be referred to as a father of wisdom, it is not an onerous task. It is not a day job. Ọ̀rúnmìlà keep on working. Ọ̀rúnmìlà keep on working. He keep on struggling for the betterment of us. We Babalawo, what are we doing? Are we advancing in our knowledge? Are we conducting research? What have we done? We should try to improve on the knowledge of Ifa. We should try to improve on the concept of Ifa, but anything we were coming up with, it should not try to simplify Ifa. It should not try to change the originality, the genuinity that Ifa contains. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So from what you have said so far, which has been very, very insightful, if I can get it carefully, is that Ifa is a complete system that has its own set of principles and everything that guides it.
Yes.
And while we are trying to look forward into innovating, or we should not change the guiding principles of Ifa, it is when if we try to change those underlying principles, we in such a way we defeat the purpose of innovation.
Definitely.
And destroy what is true meaning.
Definitely.
So that is one thing that I've gotten. But there's something that I want you to help us express, because you made mention of the fact that it was Ọ̀rúnmìlà that brought forth the Ifa, for example, and also the Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. So I want to know if any sort of, it doesn't have to be an app, but what was the thought process? What is the difference between these two technology? Or is it in fact true that Ifa came before the Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, and what was the thought process behind bringing up using the Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ as against the Ifa previously? And if we stay within the guidelines of what Ọ̀rúnmìlà did when he was trying to innovate from Ifa to Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, can we bring forth another system that will be much more probably faster, or improve upon that structure, or probably even just change the structure without even maybe trying to improve it, but just change it slightly? So that's one of the questions that I have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know what is behind innovating Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ to Ifa is just to for example, you know, Ifa, it is time consuming.
Yes.
It require much stress, and you know, so many people need service of Ọ̀rúnmìlà. They want Ọ̀rúnmìlà to render service to them. For example, Ọ̀rúnmìlà will have to every 5 days. Ọ̀rúnmìlà will have to visit Alara's house, Ajero's house, Owanagwaga, different people who need the service of Ọ̀rúnmìlà. And if Ọ̀rúnmìlà is casting Ifa, before he even attend to a single individual, it takes couples of hours. Now, and you see, in Ifa, everything does not happen in a day. It is a gradual process. It is like discovering a problem, then provide solution to it. Now, that is when Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ came in Odufa, Òtúà Olóhùn, Òtúà Ganga, Ìwòrì náà Ganga, ẹ sọ fọkùnrin Ganga, kọ́mọdé dọ̀bálẹ̀ kọkùnrin Ganga mọ́, adúfá fún ọmọlá bá lọ ríra ọ̀gá lẹ́rú, ọ̀gá ni fún ọ̀gá lọ́pẹ̀lẹ̀, owó tá a mú gba fánà la mú gbọ́pẹ̀lẹ̀. So ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ was introduced, but Ọ̀rúnmìlà is the brain behind it. As a result of Ìṣọ̀lá Ìlú, of course they will say Ọ̀rúnmìlà should try to make ẹbọ, because if Ọ̀rúnmìlà discover that there is a problem, we surely make Ìdáfá. After the Ìdáfá, Ọ̀rúnmìlà will be asked to make ẹbọ. We believe that the result of the ẹbọ is to get solution to the problem. Now, the solution that Ọ̀rúnmìlà get was that, okay, Ọ̀rúnmìlà, this is ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, do it like this. So if you are to print 2, so if you are using ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ Ifá instead of 2 on a definitive board, that will means close on ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. Pé tó bá jẹ́ ìka méjì ló bá tẹ̀ lójú ọpọ́n Ifá, tó bá ti di bí ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, you have to close it. Okay, if it is 1, if you print 1 finger, if you print 1, then on ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ you have to open it. Okay, Ọ̀rúnmìlà now ask, how do I chant it? They said there's no variation. Ejiogbe in ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ is the same as Ejiogbe in Ikenfa. So meaning that Ọ̀rúnmìlà is the one who saw the problem, and he is the one who provides solution to it. Where I don't say people should not use app. Tomorrow someone may come up with an application. In fact, around maybe 5 years ago, there's one Cuban Babalawo who stays in America, who developed an application, Ifa divination. Yeah, it is. The application is there on Apple, on App Store. Many people are using it. That time, later they discovered that the information they got, the information is not right. Even though they have to toss it to the front, to the back, right, left, they shake it, then it will come up with Odufa, maybe a Ejiogbe. You know, but at the end of the day, the people realize that this application cannot be substitute to the system of the divination. It cannot. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that even if someone came up with an application, it will be acceptable. In fact, people will like the approach. But I'm telling you, spiritual essence, it may the validation may be weak. The review may be weak compared to the system, because you know, in fact, it's spiritual. And when we are talking about the spiritual, something that is spiritual, you know, if we are trying to bring up innovation into it, it may water it, it may reduce the efficiency, it may reduce the quality. I don't know if you try to get what I'm trying to say.
One other question that when we were having this conversation earlier, it took us a lot of time, and we were trying to bring out solution, but we couldn't. And it was about Eboriru. I was saying that is there the ingredients for the Eboriru? Is there a way that are they substitutable? And I think someone made points that it is not possible. But then I now looked at something else. There are instances where blood of an animal is required for Eboriru, and they have to. A lot of times they kill the animal, because someone made mention of he doesn't like the fact that they used to kill the animal when they are trying to do Eboriru. And he now said, so now I was now thinking of it in this light, that there are modern ways now that we can extract.
Ola, don't use skill, please.
You said?
Please, don't use skill. Use spy.
Also, sorry. Okay, yes. Yeah. But, so there are other ways that recently with Western innovative systems, there are ways that blood of animals, or even us humans, can be extracted out of that animal and stored. So, for instance, now, is there a way, if it's that the blood is what is required, instead of killing the animal, instead of buying the animal, can we just have a system where maybe this blood of this so animal is stored? Then, when we want to do the Eboriru, it will just be poured on the sacrifice. Is it something that it doesn't make any sense, or it's not possible? The animal has to be pined before the sacrifice will be grounded in the traditional system?
Thank you. In fact, I love this question. I love this question. You should try to give yourself a round of applause. I love the question. You see, in Ifa, that is why I usually encourage people to seek for knowledge. Yes, yes, I sincerely I love the question. Now, firstly, it is not compulsory, or let me say, it is not always that Babalawo use animal for ebo. It depends on the prescription from Ifa. Ifa is the one that we said, okay, oh, in order for you to get solution to this predicament, use animal. In fact, if Ifa said you should use animal, yet Ifa may even say you should not kill the animal. Yes, in one Odufa Idin Obara, Ifa said, and I quote, Ọ̀bàrà kàtà ìmẹ̀sìn ò ní dídúrà fún Olúsí ọmọ Àràgbó lẹ̀dẹ́kú, àgbò kan tí mo rà lẹ̀ ní kú mú lọ. If that Odufa was refused, Idin Obara, they will say the person should try and buy a ram. Then the ram, Akoshefa, will be put in form of powder and apply on the entire body of the ram. Then they will give the ram back to the owner, to the person whichever was performed for, that he should take the ram to his house, tie it, and he should try to be rearing the animal, the ram. So later, before 7 days, the ram will die. It means the sudden death that wanted to take his soul have substitute the soul of the ram to the soul of the person that did the dafa. Do you see that nobody kills the ram? Nobody even takes the blood. Nobody takes the blood. Now, in another Odufa, Ìrosùn méjì, Ifá ni ara kúlúwẹ́ ní fọṣọ lórí yangi, òjò rọ̀ máa rọ̀ ọ̀run ò fọ́sọ́, adúá fún yáwọ́ pa tí sọmọ ọlọ́jẹ́ òkúso, aníkẹ́ ẹ yáwọ́ pa bí ẹ̀ ṣe pé yáwọ́ pẹran. If Odufa refused and Babalawo chanted it, now they will say they should buy she-goat, ewúrẹ́, as an ingredient of the ẹbọ, but they should not kill the ewúrẹ́. They should not kill it. Babalawo will be the one who will know how to do it, but they should not kill the goat. Meaning that it is not always that Babalawo kills the goat until Ifa prescribe. Now, let's now look at the spiritual essence of the blood. Blood, it is sacred. It is something that softens or that reduce hardness. Ẹ̀rọ ní ẹ̀jẹ̀. Wọ́n ní ẹ̀jẹ̀ balẹ̀, olubi adẹ̀rọ̀. Meaning that blood, if blood touches the ground, it changes the negativity to positivity. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ balẹ̀ lónìí o, olubi ó dẹ̀rọ̀. Now, the blood that Ifa is talking about, Ifa is not talking about the blood that we stored in a bank. No. Because before Babalawo tried to slaughter or try to buy the goat, there are some sacrificial practices. There is a way that they will do about it. There are some things that they have to do. There are some guides. There's laid down rules before you buy the goat, the ram, the cow, or what have you. For example, they have to use the head of the goat to touch your head if you are there. If you are not there, they will be saying it in your absentia. They will be saying it in your absentia. Ẹnu gbogbo ló ní kí n máa wí, àgbọ̀nsàlẹ̀ ló ní kí n máa rò, tá a bá rọ̀rọ̀ tá a bá wí, àgbòsìkà là á dà. Adífá fún ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìdílógún oródù níjọ́ tí wọ́n ní ikú kàn wọ́n, wọ́n ní ikú ó kà wọ́n. Wọ́n wá ré ikú yẹn títí èjì ogbè ó ré sórí ọ̀yẹ̀kún méjì náà ré dórí ìwòrì méjì, wọ́n ré tó fi dórí òfún méjì náà wá ré sórí ọ̀ṣẹ̀ ìtura. They are trying to wave it. Èjì ogbè waved the sudden death to ọ̀yẹ̀kún méjì also waved it to ìwòrì méjì. They are trying to skip it. They are trying to dodge it with ẹbọ until it reached the turns of Ofunmeji. Ofunmeji also waved the sudden death. He waved it to Ọ̀ṣẹ́ Iléru, Ọ̀ṣẹ́ Ìtura. But Ọ̀ṣẹ́ Ìtura does not have anyone to give it to wave it to. He now went to Babalawo. Babalawo said, you have to buy a goat. Then you have to wave it to that goat. ǹjẹ́ ràn mí níkù o ọjọ́ kan o ẹran ràn mí níkù o ọjọ́ kan ẹran. Meaning that babaláwo that wanted to use goat for you, there is a reason behind it. If Ifa does not demand goat, they will never ask you to use goat. Now, we can now substitute blood to goat. Blood is different. If Babalawo need blood of the goat, they will just ask you to go to abattoir, collect as much as you can, bring it. But the blood of that goat, it is just an entity. It is just an element. The soul of that goat is what required to replace your own soul. Now, what people now don't understand is this. If you are to sacrifice goat, it is not the blood alone. There's something we call the pese. There's something we call the pese. Ipese require cutting of the entire part of the goat, including the intestine. Cutting the entire part, then give it to Yami. Now, you now say because we want to substitute, we want to improvise, we now use blood. Where are we going to get the pese that we will give to Yami? And it is necessary. If I ask you to use goat for Ebo, automatically you are giving an appeasement to Yami. You are giving appeasement to Yami. Now, after you give appeasement to Yami, don't forget that the goat will be used. There's something we call asun. There's something we call asun. Asun is like a small piece of meat cooked to venerate Ifa or the Orisha that demanded the goat. We have to cook it and mix in your leg. Ifa said, "Ayere oko abegbe gaga gungun, adwa fún yan le tí sóbìnrin òrìṣà, èrò pé ìrọ̀fà, ẹja yan le ká tó jẹ gbogbo awo." You have to, after the goat has been pied, they have to prepare the goat, give it pese to Yami, then they have to cook the goat, use it to make inyole. And that inyole will serve as the means of completing the sacrifice or the sacrifices. So there is no way we can substitute blood to goat. There is no way we can do that. If I want ordinary the blood, Ifa will said it. Ifa is 100% accurate. There were a lot of Odufa that Ifa will even said you should use ordinary kola nut to make Ebo. Ordinary kola nut. See, let me give you one testimony. And Ifa sees me. Somebody came to my house. Okay. Now, on that day, we now ask Ifa that is there a specific item that you need to use for his Ori? And Ifa said yes. Okay, we continue to ask Ifa. Babalawo should be the one to determine it. Ifa said no. Ifa said he is the one that should determine it. And I gave him Iranse. He started asking the different items. He is saying it inside. Ifa started saying no. Later Ifa said yes. I now asked, what does Ifa said? Ifa said you should use water, ordinary water, H2O, water for the appeasement to his Ori. And I said, that is what your Ori wants. Your Ori wants water. Meaning that you as a babalawo, as a knowledgeable babalawo, as a babalawo that you want Ifa to continue to be answering your request, you should not bypass. You should not dodge Ifa. So as you now say, because we want him to kill goat. Ifa said you don't worry, you should use ram. We asked, his Ori wants him to use water, and we use the water to make appeasement to his Ori plus Obi. I swear with Eledumare, 3 days later, what he make the offering for to Ori for, everything come to reality. He praised Babalawo. Babalawo also praised Ifa, and Ifa praised Eledumare. Do you get it? Ifa his Ori wants water, no blood at that particular time. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that if your Ifa wants blood, he will surely say it. And if I want blood, you should give it the way it's supposed to be. We should not try to bring innovation to sacrifice. We should do it the way our ancestors, they laid down rules, the way they do it. We should try to follow the guides. A lè sọ pé torí pé ayé ti dayé ọ̀làjú kọ́mọ ẹni ó sọnù ká má wá. Meaning that we can't say because we are now living in a Western world, one's child should get missed, and we should say we won't look for such a particular child. Ní sọ pé ayé dayé ọ̀làjú ká fojú egbò tẹ́lẹ̀. So we should do it the way our ancestors say we should do it. Gbogbo láti mọ̀ pé látijọ́ aláyé ti dáyé, àwọn adọ́tí ló wà ń bì, á fi okó sínú òbò ni látijọ́ táláyé ti dáyé. Àwa ní sọ pé torí pé ayé dayé ọ̀làjú ká wá sọ wípé a fẹ́ fi síbòmíì. Tá a bá fi síbòmíì a lè rọ́mọ. Definitely each part of the whole tó wà lára wa ló ní iṣẹ́ ló ní nǹkan tó fẹ́ wọ bíbẹ̀. Ẹnu wa ó ní ta ní kó wọ bẹ̀. Okay, let's think about this. Think about this. Ẹnu wa, ẹ wo àwọn tó máa ń fúnra wọn ní ẹ̀dì yẹn. Tí ọkùnrin bá dá àtọ̀ sí obìnrin lẹ́nu, ṣó máa lóyún? Kò lè lóyún, because ibi tí àtọ̀ máa digestive system yàtọ̀ sí reproductive system. Ṣùgbọ́n tí ọkùnrin bá dá àtọ̀ sóbìnrin nídìí, ó máa lóyún. Àwa lè sọ pé torí pé ayédayé olóyìnbó, ayédayé ọ̀làjú, ká sọ wípé a fẹ́ kóbìnrin conceive ẹnu láti wá bá sùn, ẹnu la máa wá dàtọ̀ sí tó ti máa wá bímọ, kò lè bímọ. Báyé ṣe dayé ọ̀làjú tó, a gbúdọ̀ ṣe bọ́n ṣe ń ṣe kó lè rí bó ṣe yẹ kó rí. If we want a good result, we should do it the way it's supposed to be. Ifá tó sọ̀rọ̀ lójú ọlọ́gbọ́n méjì, Ifá tó ní pèpè láwo lé, òtítà láwo dé, alápàǹdẹ̀rẹ̀ ló kọ́lé tán lọ́kọjú ẹ̀ sódò kọ́ fẹ̀yìn kán mẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fẹ̀yìn kan kì. Ohun wo Olódùmarè lójú dúrà fún òye polú ọmọ sọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́, bàbá rẹ̀ fílẹ̀ kú léńje, ìyá rẹ̀ fílẹ̀ kú léńje kọ̀mọ́ dídọ́wọ́ kọ̀mọ́ ń tẹ̀lẹ̀, kọ̀mọ́ kárẹ̀ bọ́ ìhà, wọ́n kó nǹkan òrùlé òbúkú sẹ́kún. Ó ní bómi wọn kọ́ fílẹ̀ mi ọmọ, ìṣòro ọ̀run wá bá ní tóró ṣe, àmọ́ sí pàbá, ẹ̀yin Ọlọ́run wá gbé ìta ṣe. Even before the ancestors, before the Rúmọlẹ̀, they can accept the offering. You have to do it the way it's supposed to be. You don't follow your discretion. I assumed, I thought it should be like this. No, you don't think for a Rúmọlẹ̀. You don't think for your computer. Though you may try to psych it, you may try to use some scope, yet ó mọ nǹkan tó fẹ́ lórí rẹ̀. So meaning that your goat, kò ṣe pé abaláwo fẹ́ jẹran ló fi ní kó mẹ́ran wá. It is for your own benefit. Tá bá fẹ́ràn bọ́fá, we try to use blood to soften issues, adding issues. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ máa balẹ̀, olubi á dẹ̀rọ̀. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, we give appeasement to ìyàmí. Àwọn ìyàmí máa jẹ níbi ibẹ̀, ẹ máa ṣe pèsè fún wọn. You cut the entire part of the goat, including the intestine, ẹ máa fi ṣe pèsè fún àwọn ìyàmí. Now, after that, you cooked the goat to make ìyànlẹ̀, which is very, very necessary. Now, tá bá wá lọ ra ẹ̀jẹ̀ lásán from the blood bank. Káláwọn kan ń tẹ̀jẹ̀ ewúrẹ́, wọ́n ń tẹ̀jẹ̀ àgùntàn, wọ́n ń tẹ̀jẹ̀ àgbò, wọ́n ń tẹ̀jẹ̀ ràkúnmí, a wá lọ rè gba ẹ̀jẹ̀ yẹn, wá lọ dà sórí Ifá. Nǹkan mẹ́ta tó kù nǹkan báwo la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe? Then there's something we call ìjíyìn. Ìjíyìn, this is how we do it. The entire part of the goat, because ó ní bọ́n ṣe máa ń pẹran ní Ifá, ó ní bá ṣe máa ń gé ẹran ní Ifá. The entire goat, babaláyé wo mo kí yín o, the entire part of the goat will be placed on Ifá. Ifá ní àsòwò jèrè ní mú lọ́kọ láyà dọ̀lẹ. Adífá fún ọ̀run làbálọ̀ ìgbésore jíyìn níyàwó. Àsore jíyìn àsore. Ifá orí ẹran rẹ̀ ní o, kórí ọmọ bá ṣe dùn ẹlẹ́bọ. Please underline it. Ifá orí ẹran rẹ̀ ní o. This is the head of the goat. I presented it over you so that the owner of this offering, the person who gave this offering to you, will never have any issues that has to do with head. Àwọn èèyàn ní brain tumor lónìí o, but ó ti forí ẹran, ó ti fi ṣèpèsè fún fàárẹ̀, ò ní brain tumor láyé. wọ́n á ní orí ẹran rẹ ní Ifá o, àsóre dín ìjìyàn àsóre. Wọ́n á ní apá ẹran rẹ ní Ifá o, àsóre dín ìjìyàn àsóre. Itan ẹran rẹ ní Ifá o, ìfádùn ọ̀tún ìfádùn òsì. Ìkófàsí ẹran rẹ ní Ifá o, àsóre dín ìjìyàn àsóre. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ sẹ́ni tó lọ gba blood from blood bank, àwọn nǹkan tó tún kù tán tó ń fẹ́ràn yẹn ṣe, báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ mọ̀, báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ rí ṣe. Meaning that if your offering is to score 5 over if the grade is from scale of 1 to 10, táwọn yòókù bá jẹ benefit of 10-10, you only enjoy 1 out of 10. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ṣé ẹni tán wá ṣẹbọ fún tí wọ́n wá scale ẹbọ rẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ àwọn oníkọ̀ ọlọ́run, because àwọn tó ń gbẹbọ àwọn oníkọ̀ ọlọ́run, àwọn náà máa gba ẹbọ. Now, if ikọ̀ ọlọ́run are to scale your ẹbọ, are to grade the ẹbọ that you performed, they will only score you 1 out of 10. So at the end of the day, you now say, Babalawo, the sacrifice that you performed for me, I don't feel the impact. The ẹbọ is not manifesting. The ire is not coming. Ẹni tó rúbọ bí wọ́n ṣe ní òru gan kò tí ì rí abọ́ ẹbọ tán ní òru. À ń bọ̀ sí bọ́ sí ẹni tó parú. So anybody that want to do ẹbọ tó fẹ́ lọ kàn gbẹ̀jẹ̀ wá, ó fẹ́ pa bọ̀rú nìyẹn. Ifá sì ti sọ pé apá bọ̀rú ò ní kú o, àìsàn tí ń sapá bọ̀rú ni ò ní sàn bọ̀rọ̀bọ̀rọ̀. Meaning that Ifá ti guide wa, ìlànà ti wà tá máa máa tẹ̀lé. Èèyàn kò kàn lè jíjọ́ pé kó sọ pé báyìí lèmi fẹ́ ṣe tèmi. If you want an exact result, a content result, adequate result, you should follow the laid down rules. Láti jọ aláyé ti dáyé náà ti já mọ̀ pé ẹsẹ̀ a máa ń fẹsẹ̀ tẹ̀lẹ̀ ni. A lè sọ pé ayé dáyé ọlọ́làjú ká máa fọwọ́ tẹ̀lẹ̀. Téèyàn bá ṣe béèyàn ti dẹranko nìyẹn. Despite wípé ọ̀làjú ti dé, ayé ti lajú, ayé ti advance, innovation ti dé, èyí ò ní fọwọ́ tẹ̀lẹ̀ láyé. So ẹ jẹ́ kí n dákẹ́ báyẹn tí ìbéèrè mi bá tún wà.
Thank you so much, sir. From what I have gathered from all you have said is that the Ifa systems are sacred and timeless as even life itself. So they are not things that are subject to you trying to improve upon. When you try to improve upon it in your own normal thinking, then you are only going to distort it eventually. So because of how sacred they are, they must maintain their originality so that they can be able to be as effective as possible.
Definitely.
So I believe that is what you established, sir.
In a couple of months ago, there is one man who came with an hypothesis that instead of giving blood to Ifa, we should use watermelon. The question is, what is the relationship? Do you think the watermelon that you said we should be giving Ifa will be effective as the goat? Now, imagine all the importance, the significance of giving goat to Ifa. You give the blood, you give Ipese to Iyami. All the part of the goat will be used for prayer. Now, does the watermelon, does it have blood? Okay, does watermelon has intestine that will be used as a place for Iyami? You will realize that all these things, it is just that we just want to deterrorize something that is as good that our forefather gave to us. And you see, what is really happening to people is that people want to be faster than their shadow. And me, I do tell people that, you see, that is why he says, there is no room for evangelism. You don't call people. Yes, you let people fall in love. You let people, you let people saw Ifa by themselves. Let them adopt it. Because if you are trying to tell them, come to Ifa, come and do Ifa, come and do this, come and do that, that is the reason why all that kind of approaches will be coming up. So people said we can be giving Ifa rose flower. We can give flowers to Ifa rose flower. Ifa could be vegetarian instead of using goats. You understand? And all these things, if Ifa wants fruit, Ifa will say it by himself. Yes, Ifa will say it. Like, for example, I told someone that it is not Ifa it is not all the priests of Ifa that can consume alcohol. There are some people that their taboo of Ifa is ọtí. Their taboo is ọtí. So if despite the fact that Ifa likes ọtí, ọtí la mú àgún awo. Ifa likes ọtí. Yes, Ifa likes it. Bá Adégbò àṣàgì bá dọ́dà ṣe ìrùwà. Tábádéjù kọmọ ní kọmọ yẹn pópó olóò látàdúrà fún Adégbàmí ọmọ òṣàgbòújìn ọmọ ọlọ́tí alákatá ń para ọbọ òrìṣọ́fọ̀ tí wọ́n fó gbémọ rẹ̀. Yes, Ifa likes ọtí. Yet Ifa still caution some of his ọmọ that don't take ọtí. Don't take ọtí. Ọtí gbénú ara ọtí ń jamọ lógun. Gọ̀dọ̀gbọ̀ gbéjù yọ lọ̀lọ̀lọ̀. Ifa stated that don't take ọtí. If you consume ọtí, it will be causing you more harms than good. Meaning that if Ifa want vegetable, Ifa will sell it. There's one Odùfá Ògúndábèdé. Tó bá dífá yẹn fún yàn, ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin ni wọ́n ní kéèyàn fi bọfá. Ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin. Mo ti gbàgbé botanical name ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin ni. Wọ́n ní kéèyàn fi ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin. Wọ́n ní kéèyàn fi bọfá. So Ifa is the one that intentionally asked for ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin. Not that we now said, okay, nobody should use goat again. We should all be vegetarian. We should be giving ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin to Ifa. Ifa fún ara rẹ̀ ló sọ pé òun fẹ́ ẹ̀fọ́ yánrin. Despite the fact that Ifa loves obì. Ifa fẹ́ràn obì gan. In some Odùfá tán bá dá fún yàn, wọ́n ní kéèyàn má lo obì, kéèyàn lo orógbó. Ìwòrì òrìn káwọlé olórí àgbọn dúrà fún olórí àgbọn tìsàlẹ̀ ọjà. Ọmọ afobì sílẹ̀ fi iwó bọfá iwó. Iwó is another name for orógbó. Ẹ rí i pé Ifá ló béèrè fún ara ẹ̀ pé iwó ni kẹ́ ẹ lò fún mi. Meaning that Ifá máa ń tẹ̀lé bó bá ṣe ń lọ ni. Nǹkan tó bá máa lò tó fi ṣẹbọ tẹ́bọ̀ tó fi fin tó fi gbà. Ifá will be the one who will say it. Not that you will be the one who will be dictating for Ifa. Ìwọ ló fẹ́ máa dictate fún Ifá, no. And Ifa works on individual. In tó máa wà peculiar sẹ́yìn, ó yàtọ̀ sí tó máa wà peculiar sẹ́mi. Meaning that in tí Ifá ò bá ti sọ pé ká ṣe, téèyàn kan bá kàn wò pé nǹkan lè jíjọ́ kan pé òun rò pé ó yẹ kí kinní lè make sense now. Ẹnìyẹn kàn tán ara rẹ̀ jẹ lásán ni. So ẹ jẹ́ ká tún tẹ̀síwájú.
Thank you so much, sir. This is very insightful wisdom that we have gotten from you today.
Adúpẹ́.
So I think I would pass the mic to some other persons that might have questions to ask. I think you have answered all my own personal questions too, and it is very, very satisfactory.
Adúpẹ́.
Thank you so much, sir. So
Adúpẹ́.
let me pass it first to Queen Iyalode. If she has anything to ask, then we can ask anybody in the audience too that wants to ask you any question, because it's not always that we have people with very, very deep and powerful wisdom like this join us on the live. So Queen Iyalode, over to you.
Hey, Brother, thank you so much. Bàbá mi Fáṣọ̀tọ̀.
Ìyá mi, àṣẹ o, àṣẹ o, àṣẹ o. Ògbàtọ́ o, ògbàtọ́ o.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring us.
Adúpẹ́
We're
o.
really grateful. We're
Adúpẹ́.
thankful.
Àdúpẹ́ o.
Ẹ ṣé gan, àmọ́ máa rí yín bá o láṣẹ Ọlọ́run
àṣẹ o,
Elédùmarè o.
àṣẹ o.
Láyọ̀ àtàlàfíà dẹ̀ ni o, láṣẹ
Àṣẹ,
Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ bèèrè ni pé, you see, you talked about the Ìkìnfá, please, and Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. When tíyàn bá dá Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, when you dá Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ and you dá Ìkìnfá, the ẹbọ rírú, is it like, you know, the Ìkìnfá, the ẹbọ rírú, is if tó bá yọ ẹbọ rírú ni o, if it brings out ẹbọ rírú, would that give you some time? And if you do Ìkìnfá, does it have to be, you have to do it immediately? Please, just explain that bit a bit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì stated it. Ifa and
Ola,
Isese.
please bring life educated stream up, please.
Okay.
Ẹ ṣé, sir.
Yeah. If I try to understand your question, that okay, between Ìkìnfá and Ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, so is there a stipulated period of time that you can take before you do the prescribed ẹbọ? Now, in
Yes,
ló du ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì, Ifa and Isese olóńgó, gìrì àparò, adébáfọ̀n, òmìnira abọ́mọ́sọ òjàkadì kárí ayé, aláradàmí òsangún, Isese olóńgó ẹ̀dọ́ òléjà, Isese olóńgó, ìdá Odùfá. That is where Ọ̀rúnmìlà made it clear to us that If you are not ready to make ebo, don't do idafa. Yes, don't do idafa if you are not ready to mix ebo, especially if you are doing idafa with ikin, because wọ́n ní a kì í dàgbàlagbà ká má tù ú, a kì í lu àgbàlagbà ká má tù ú, títù yẹn ni ẹbọ tó fẹ́ ṣe. Now, arabi tí the uses of ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ ti jẹ jáde lélẹ́yìí, because in pre-modern time, in olden days, even up to this moment, you can never see any ọba that will ask Babalawo to use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ for idafa. They will ask you to use their mole. Mole is another name for ikin. They will ask you to use their mole, cast their ikinfa, because they believe, though ikinfa and ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ and ikinfa, they are both genuine. But if I want to be honest with you, ikinfa is more sacred, more deeper than ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, and I will tell you the reason. Now, if you see someone who is familiar with Ifa, such a person, if he or she has a doubt that he want to clear, he will never ask you to use ikinfa, use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. They will ask you to use ikinfa. They will ask you to use ikinfa. Hardly you will say a Babalawo who will be doing idafa with ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ for himself or for his family. They will use ikin. There are some idafa that is very, very paramount, very, very important to individual's life. For example, Esentaye. They will never use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ for Esentaye. They will use ikinfa, because we want to see the real fact. If you are doing itefa in Igbodu, they will never use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. In Igbodu, they will use ikinfa. If you are doing Ifesetokun, they will not use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. They will use ikinfa. Ifa Adawole Oku, to know that Ifa Adawole Oku, one of the purpose of Adawole Oku is to conduct autopsy. To conduct autopsy, to know the source, the causes of the deceased. Kí ló pẹ́ nìyẹn? Tó máa fẹ́ dáfà Adawole Oku wọn nílò ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, they will use ikinfa. They won't use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀. Now, what now happen is that if you now use ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀, you must do the ẹbọ that same day. Ọjọ́ ló gbọ́dọ̀ rúbọ. Téèyàn kan bá sọ fún mi pé ọjọ́ kẹta dá, ọjọ́ kẹrin dá, ọjọ́ karùn-ún dá. It is because people are now saying Babalawo as they are taking their advantage or advantages. Òun làwọn Babalawo náà ṣe ń dọ̀jà àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan, náà ṣe ń dọ́gbọ́n sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan pé ẹ má wọ́n rí, ẹ lè rúbọ fáyín lóyún ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́ta, kò sí wàhálà. Irọ́ o, èmi Fásòtọ́ mo sọ fún yín, tẹ́ ẹ bá dá Ikinfa, ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ rúbọ rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ yẹn. Ní tí ò bá mú yín fi rúbọ lọ́jọ́ yẹn, bóyá ń tẹ́ fẹ́ fi rúbọ kò sí ńlẹ̀, ẹ rú lọ́jọ́ kejì, ẹ dẹ̀ sọ fún Babaláwo yín pé kán jọ̀ kan máa ń tabọ̀nù. Àwọn Babaláwo tí wọ́n ṣe máa ń tabọ̀nù, wọ́n á make sure pé à ń gbẹ́bọ lọ fésù immediately, so tẹ́ fi wá get gbogbo èròjà tẹ́ fẹ́ lò, tẹ́ fi wá rúbọ yẹn. But torí pé ayé ti dáyé wípé àwọn Babaláwo náà ń sọ̀rọ̀ sọ, wọn fẹ́ káwọn èèyàn rá wọn pé àwọn Babaláwo wọ́n dáfá fún mi, wọ́n á ní pé mo gbọ́dọ̀ rúbọ lójú ẹsẹ̀ nísìn. Kí ni gbogbo yẹn? Àwọn Babaláwo náà ṣe lo wisdom pé ẹ má worry, ìgbà tó bá ti wù yín ni kẹ́ ẹ dáfá yín. But tá bá fẹ́ sòótọ́ fúnra wa, torí pé à ń dára wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ni, kò ń ṣe pé bóyá à ń polówó ẹ wá dáfá ló lè jẹ́ kí n sọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Torí pé à ń dára wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, we are trying to expose ourselves. We are trying to give ourselves information that we need in order to smooth our journey. That is why I'm saying this. If you do idafa with ikinfa, it is important for you to do the ẹbọ same day. And if you won't be able to do the ẹbọ, just ask your Babalawo to do what is called tabonu. Babalawo know how to do it. Babalawo will do itabonu for you. That itabonu, it is a temporary ẹbọ till you do the permanent ẹbọ. I'm saying this for you to know how sacred Ikinfa was. Now, A lot of people, you know, I said Omila will discover a problem and we surely find solution to it. Now, Omila now realize that some people, they are not financially buoyant. They are not financially stable. Their economic situation, we can't write home about it. Now they will come to him for help. Then Omila will do Idafa for them. If he do Idafa with Ikenfa, definitely they have to do Ebo same day. How are these people, how are they going to do the Ebo? And Omila knows the gravity of them failing to do the Ebo same day. That is one of the adventure. That is one of the reasons why Omila invented Opele. That is why you will see Babalawo using Opele for clients. The first timer coming to Babalawo for Idafa, Babalawo will use Opele. Because if they use Opele for you and you are not coming back to do the Ebo, there's no problem. If Babalawo do Idafa for you with Opele, you may take a couple of weeks, couples of months, there's no problem. So because Orunmila is trying to save people, save less privilege, less advantage, yet they need the help of Ifa, and Orunmila understand what it takes. That is why Orunmila use Opele for them. But if we were to talk about the genuity, the originality, the one that is advanced, Ikenfa is more advanced than Opele. And that is why people like a king, people like Babalawo, Iyanefa, who knows the importance of Ikenfa, they will never ask you to use Opele for them. They will say, please do use Ikenfa for me. So for your question, if it is Ikenfa, Oninda, Oninru, Onlebuawo say that you Tologberi, meaning that I casted my Ifa today and I mix the Ebo same day, automatically Ebo yen o ma da. But Ogberi ni unbeliever, because ẹni tí ó nígbàgbọ́ nínú Ifá, òun ò ní rúbọ tiẹ̀ lójú ẹsẹ̀, ìjọ tó bá wù ló máa tó padà wá. So if you use Opele, it may take as much as you want. But if you are doing Idafa with Ikenfa, make sure you do Ebo same day. And if you have a reason that you won't be able to do the Ebo same day, just ask your Babalawo to tabonu for you, to do temporary Ebo for you. Ifa Odun, you will never ask Babalawo use Opele to do Idafa Odun. Impossible. It is impossible. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to talk down on Opele, but I'm telling you that if not for the fact that Orunmila trying to consider the economic situation of people who are seeking for his help, Orunmila will have been using Ikenfa for everybody. And that is why the key Idafa, there are some Idafa that are very, very important, that are seasonal. Orunmila will never use Opele for it. But for the regular Idafa, Orunmila will use Opele for that. And it will depend on your interest. If you are ready to do the Ebo, do it. And if you are not ready to do it, no problem. But if it is Ikenfa, in fact, Babalawo usually do this. If Babalawo use Ikenfa for you to do Idafa, if you are not coming back to do the Ebo, Babalawo will try to do the Itabonu. It is for his own benefit, not for the benefit of someone who came for the Ifa. So I don't know if I try to dissect your question. Yeah, Queen.
Thank you. You've answered it perfectly well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So in the comment section, someone asked the question, and I think it just, I want to rephrase it slightly to help capture what it's really asking. So apart from divination and Ebo, what other way can we, as just normal people, apply Ifa to our lives and make our lives better beyond going to our Babalawo for divination and all of that? Is there any other way that in our daily lives, even when we are not close to our Babalawo and we are far away, we can learn some things or do some things with Ifa that will improve our life?
Yes, there are a lot. There are a lot. For example, I made a video couples of weeks ago. Yeah, the title of the video on YouTube is After Isefa or Itefa. How do you pray or how do you communicate with your Ifa on your own? You see, it is because so many people, people are intellectually lazy. That is why the knowledge that you're supposed to have or that you're supposed to acquire, many people don't get the knowledge. For example, I said it clearly on that video that if you have the opportunity, if you have the chance or the chances, your Ikenfa should be with you. If you have the chance, if you have the I don't say it is not good that you should not give the Ikenfa to your Babalawo or to your Oluwo to keep it for you. It is good, but if you want to follow the normal protocol, your Ikenfa should be with you, because there is a blessing that you receive if you see your Ifa on daily basis. Ifa said it Odufo Tupona Sokun Adabasusu àwọn lóde àjíríkin dúà fún lóde àjíríkin wọn ní tán bá ti jí kán máa fojú ba kí wọn. So you seeing your Ifa on daily basis, automatically you have a blessing. You have a blessing. That one different. Now there are some ways by which you can communicate with your Ifa. That is what we call the Bojuma. You should be able to do that one on your own, whereby you try to say some Iwure, you try to pray to Ifa, chant your Odufa, where your Ifa talks about Iriade, you mention it, you chant it. Where your Ifa talks about Iriaiku longevity, you chant the fast. Where your Ifa talks about Ishegun victory, you chant the fast, you claim it. Iwureni, you dig down the blessing that's supposed to be for you. And I believe all this does not require sacrifice. Just get your obi. If you have 40, if you have omi on daily basis, go to your Ifa, pray to your Ifa, mention what you want Ifa to do for you. We can do this, but people are lazy. If we started asking people that have you done it ever, they will say yes. Okay, chant 2 of your Odufa for us. They'll be saying, I don't know my Odufa. Èèyàn tó tẹ fá tí ó lè kí Odufa rẹ̀, ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó tá bá fẹ́ sòtọ̀rọ̀ fúnra wa, tá bá fẹ́ wá emotional, because àwa Yorùbá a máa ń wá emotional lórí ọ̀rọ̀. Pé àwọn babaláwo nìkan ló yẹ kán mọ fá. Ifá, it is a language tó jẹ́ pé every ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire should understand. That is why ìta sí ní babaláwo. Àwọn babaláwo they are Ifa scholars làwọn. But jẹ́ pé gbogbo wa at least it is expected of each and every one of us to undergo this kind of education, à ń pè ní literacy education, ability to read and write. That is called literacy education. Ability to read and write and make simple calculation. It is expected of each and every one of us. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló ṣe yẹ ká gbọ́ fá ká mọ àwọn fá kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ó ṣe ní láàánú tá a bá ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tó jẹ́ pé kò mọ Ifá tó lè fi ṣe ìwúre ajé, tí kò mọ Ifá tó lè fi ṣe ìwúre àìkú, tí kò mọ Ifá tó lè fi ṣe ìwúre ọmọ, tí kò mọ Ifá tó lè pè tó bá ń travel kóun mọ́ bá ṣe pàdé ìdáná, tí kò mọ Ifá tó lè kì tó bá fẹ́ sùn, tí téèyàn ò fi ń tojú oorun dójú kú, téèyàn ò fi ń tojú àlá rọ̀run. It is our language, it is our pride, it is our power. Gbogbo nǹkan tán bàbá wa ṣe was embedded in Ifá. Gbogbo agbára àwọn bàbá wa, ìmọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa, òye àwọn bàbá wa was embedded in Ifá. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá rọ́ ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tí kò mọ ìwúre tó lè ṣe pé tọ́ mo tún travel báyìí o, Ifá sọ mi lọ sọ mi bọ̀, Ifá ní tí náà bá pọ̀ dọ́wọ́ fínáfíná o. Ṣe mọ̀? So tá a rọ́ ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire, ẹni tí ò lè ṣe yẹn tó wá ṣẹ́fá tí ò mọ bó ifẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀. Nǹkan àǹfààní kan bẹ téèyàn bá kọ́fá tí èèyàn lè kéwú kó tó ní ṣòro kó padà lọ sọ́dọ̀ àfáà rẹ̀, but tó bá kọ́fá o need láti lọ sọ́dọ̀ olúwo rẹ mọ́. Ìyẹn tó bá lè kọ́ dé level yẹn ni o. àwọn kan dẹ̀ wà tó yẹ pé wọn ò ní láǹfààní àti lè kọ́ dé level yẹn, kò sí láburú bí yẹn, àwọn Ifá devotees nìyẹn. So what am I trying to say ni wípé tó bá ìwọ tó tẹfá tó nífá lọ́wọ́, kó kọ́kọ́ nífá rẹ lọ́wọ́ ná, ogun ti kọ́kọ́ ṣẹ́. Ká jí láàárọ̀, ká wẹwọ́ ọ̀gá wa ìténi, ká wẹ àpò àgbàrá wa ìwọ̀jọ̀, ká mú obì tó gbó, ká mú sọ̀rùn wa, ká tako sẹ́lẹ́gbára, ká fàkàrà bọ́ mọ́lẹ̀. A ní láti rolúwo wa ká tó ṣe léyìí. Ìkínfà mi ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ mi. Ìwọ tó bá ní kínfà rẹ náà lọ́wọ́ náà, tí kínfà rẹ ò bá sí lọ́dọ̀ ti tiẹ̀ náà, ìwọ náà sì lè ṣe. Ifá òwò dúdú ò sọkan mi èèyàn. Ká jí lóòrọ̀ kùtùkùtù, ká mú tí ìpín kò pín, ká ṣe ìwúre. A lè lọ sí olóòótọ́ TV lórí YouTube, fídíò yẹn wà ńbẹ̀, mo sọ síbẹ̀, bá ṣe lè communicate pẹ̀lú Ifá wa. So many people tẹ Ifá lóòótọ́ kò mọ bó ṣe lè communicate pẹ̀lú Ifá rẹ̀. So many people ló sọ̀rọ̀ òrìṣà kò mọ bó ṣe lè bórìṣà rẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀, tó ṣe lè béèrè nǹkan lọ́wọ́ òrìṣà ẹ̀. Ojúṣe babaláwo rẹ, ojúṣe olúwo rẹ ọ̀tọ̀.
Bàbá wa, ẹ má bínú pé mo. Please let him finish before you come to ask your questions. You understand, please.
Thank you.
Please continue, sir.
So many people ló sọ̀rọ̀ òrìṣà tí ò mọ báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ communicate pẹ̀lú òrìṣà ẹ̀. If you get initiated and you don't know how to communicate, mo sorry láti sọ, you may not feel the efficiency, the potency, the competency of that òrìṣà téèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀. Ó dàbí ọkùnrin tó gbóbìnrin sínú ilé ni o, tí ó make approach láti bá sùn. Tóbìnrin yẹn ò ní lóyún, àbóbìnrin sùn ni ó fi lóyún o. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ́ gbàgbé páwọn obìnrin kan wà tó jẹ́ pé tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá sọ fún wọn pé ó yá já bá wa sùn, wọn ọ̀tí ẹ̀ ní make attempt pẹ́ẹ́pẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà làwọn òrìṣà wa ṣe jẹ́. So ìwọ tó bá ní Ifá àbó bá sọ̀rọ̀ òrìṣà kan, learn how to communicate with your òrìṣà in your own language. Very simple, kò lọ fà jù, kékeré náà ni. Wọn ní kó kọ́ Fá rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́, ó ti tẹ Fá, bóyá èjì ogbè ló dúfá tó bí ẹ, mọ ẹsẹ̀ méjì bí èjì ogbè. Mọ Ifá tá fi ń ta omi sílẹ̀, Ifá tá fi ń sọ obì, Ifá tá fi ń fi ọtí tá fi ń fepo sílẹ̀. If you want to apply ọtí to Ifá, what verses can I chant? Because the reason why you need to chant verses is that the verses that you chanted will serve as a key that will open the ways for your ìwúre to manifest. Nínú ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa àkàn kì í ṣe ìwúre lásán. Ifá, I want you to bless me. Ifá, please grant me longevity. Ifá, please grant me wisdom. Ifá, please, I want to buy jet. I want to do this. I want to do that. Say no, you haven't make ìwúre. After you say your ìwúre, then you now chant Ifá. The reason why the significance of the Ifá that you are chanting is that Ifá will stamp it, will push the ìwúre to ilé àṣẹ, to where the ìwúre will manifest. All these things kì í ṣe nǹkan tó ná wa lówó. It is simple. All you need is dedication, perseverance, commitment. If you are committed with your Ifá, wàá mẹsẹ̀ inú odùfà rẹ, wàá mẹsẹ̀ méjì ńbẹ̀. You will know the Ifá that you can chant, to give ọtí to your Ifá, to give epo to your Ifá, to give oyin to Ifá, to give obì to Ifá. I think that is enough for you to start navigating your way, to start gaining, to uplift yourself, to take yourself to greater heights as far as Ifá and your òrìṣà is concerned. Then tó bá dẹ̀ wá dípò fẹ́ dáfà rẹ, then contact your babaláwo, let your olúwo do your ìdáfà for you. If you want to do ọdún, then reach out to your babaláwo, kan sọdún fún ẹ. But daily ìwúre, daily prayer, you should be able to do it for yourself. And if you try to imbibe on what I'm saying tonight, I swear with Elédùmarè, you will surely feel the positive impact of your òrìṣà. You woke up in the morning, you shower, you clean, take obi, take omi, and if you don't have obi, you surely have omi. Go to your òrìṣà, and if your òrìṣà are not in your jurisdiction at that moment, Elédùmarè sees your heart. Talk to your Irumale. Don't worry, your Irumale, they will feel the vibration, they will feel the energy, they will understand you. Talk to them. Ifa mo dúpẹ́ o. Firstly, you have to do ìdúpẹ́, appreciation. Elédùmarè mo dúpẹ́ o for waking me up. Elédùmarè, I appreciate you on my life. I appreciate you on my wife, on my children, on my business. Elédùmarè, continue to be guiding me. Akifa ọpẹ́. After that, you seek for forgiveness of sin. Elédùmarè, ẹ foríjì mi o. Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tí mo mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ dá, èyí tí mi ò mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ dá. Because ẹ̀ṣẹ̀, if you are a sinner, it will be difficult for you to acquire prosperity, to acquire blessing. That is why we seek for forgiveness of sins. Adékifá, Ifá àdáríjì ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Kúnkún mọ́ yálà o, ṣòkòtò náà yálà. Bá fún Báńgbálà, ọmọ òòṣà gbòógè. Gbogbo tí Báńgbálà bá ṣe, òrìṣà fi jìn. Yóò fi jìn o, kò ní ṣaláì fi jìn Ifá. Gbogbo tí Báńgbálà bá ṣe, kò ní ṣaláì fi jìn. A ní ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ nínú ìṣẹ̀ṣe. A máa ń ṣẹ̀. Torí náà la fi máa ń tọrọ ìdáríjì ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Then after that, tó ti sọ yẹn tán, then you move to ìwúre. Wàá ṣe ìwúre. Ifá o, ṣe lè fún mi o, ṣe lè fún mi o, ṣe lè fún mi o. Lẹ́yìn tó ti ṣe ìwúre tán, for your prayer, for your ìwúre láti wọlé àṣẹ. Where the ìwúre will manifest, wàá kí Ifá sí. Ifá yẹn ló máa bẹ́ẹ̀ sìn lọ. Ẹ rí i pé o gbé léyìí. Ṣé ti, have you slaughtered any goat? Have you slaughtered any ram? How much have you spent to do this? But torí pé àwọn èèyàn, we are not ready. Magic everybody ń wá káàkiri. And Ifa is not magic. Though Ifa works as magic in some ways, but Ifa is not magic. Ifa is not magic. You have to work, you have to strive in order for you to get the result. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n dánu ló jẹ́ nà.
Ifa that you just explained now. What about if when you've done your Ifa, you've done it from Bodu, and your Ifa said that they should share the Ifa, one at your Babalawo, Oluwo, or Yanufa, whatever, and one at your place. That's something that will matter.
Kí ni yóò wá ó dìbò dáadáa mà? Mi gbọ́ question ẹ mà.
The line of that Ikifa that you've just explained.
Yes, ma'am.
I am asking you that, Baba. When you go into Bodu, when someone goes into Bodu and come back and they are doing all the daffas and everything, and your Ifa says that they should share that Ikifa into two, one at your Babalawos or Yaunifa and one at your place. Is that something that is acceptable, or is just a way for your Babalawo to still have you? And I just want you to enlighten us on based on that, please.
Yes, it is acceptable, and it is for your own benefit. You know, for example, for people who are living in diaspora, for example, people who stays in UK, to be specific, I don't think they were able to sacrifice goats. I don't think it is easy. People in America, they can do it. They can do it, but people in the diaspora, it will be difficult for you to appease or to venerate your Ifa with blood. And you know, sometimes your Ifa may say that you want a wure. Now, if you take the entire Ifa to your house and the Ifa wants you to sacrifice a wure or what have you, your Ifa wants blood, you know, it will be difficult for you to do it. But in as much you divide your Ifa into two, the one with your Oluwo, they will be able to do it, and the connection, they will the Ifa with your Oluwo and the one that you have at your house, they will surely pair the connection. So that idea, it is not for your Oluwo to have you back. Your Ifa is your property. I do tell people, your Ifa is your property. You are the owner of it. You can decide to do anything with it. You know, in Igbodu, there's one aspect where your Oluwo and Ojugbono, they will sell the Ifa for you. Anra, anta. That is, we sell, we buy. What are you selling? The Ojugbono, we said, what do you want to buy? The Oluwo, we said, we want to buy Ikenfa. Ojugbono also, we said, we want to sell Ikenfa. Ifa, if you procure it, you should be giving it Eku, giving it Eda, Eye. What I want to use in that aspect is that you've purchased your Ikenfa, You've paid for it. So it is your property. If you woke up tomorrow that Oluwo, I want to take my Ifa to my house, your Oluwo should give you your Ikin. There shouldn't be any problem. There shouldn't be, in fact, your Oluwo should not make any statement. It is your property. So if your Oluwo advise you that you should divide the Ikin into two, it is for your own benefit, because not everybody will be able to give offering of blood to their Ifa based on the location that they stay. But if you have the opportunity of doing it, or if you know how to work with your Ifa, it is your property. You take it home. Because I did my Baba did my Itefa for me, and they give me my Ikenfa. Wọ́n gbá fà mi sílẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ mi, wọ́n gbé fà mi fún mi. Why tèmi náà ṣe máa wá tẹ́yàn nífà tí mi ní fẹ́ gbé fà ẹ̀ fún? Property ẹ̀ ni. But ẹni tí ò bá ti sí níbi tó ti lè ṣàmójútó Ifá dáadáa, ó sàn. So tán bá wá pín Ifá yẹn sí méjì, ẹni yẹn á lè máa fi ṣerú nǹkan tí mo sọ pẹ̀lú ìwúre ojúmọ́ yẹn, á lè máa ṣe, á máa fojú bá kín ẹ̀, á máa ṣèwúre ojúmọ́ sí i, á lè máa jàǹfààní kín rẹ̀. Tó bá dẹ̀ di pé kán máa dá kán ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì àbí kán ṣe anything tó bá yẹ kán ṣe, eléyìí tó wà lọ́dọ̀ Olúwo yẹn, wọ́n á máa fìyẹn ṣe. So it is acceptable. It is acceptable and it is fine.
Back to you. Ola, so Ola, you back?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you now.
So I will ask Ibidumi. I think she has some questions to ask Baba too. So please, you can unmute and ask your question.
Àbọ̀wọ̀ àbọ̀yẹ gbogbo lé o.
Ó gbà tọ́.
Bá mi fọn olùkọ́.
Mo kì í yá mi.
Àbọ̀wọ̀ bọ̀yẹ o.
Ó gbà tọ́ o.
Ojúbà akọni nífà o. Ojúbà Ifá túbọ̀ jẹ́ kí n máa rí ìrègùn sọ.
Àṣẹ o.
Bàbá mi, I have a lot of questions here, but let me just filter and ask some. My first question is, what part of Ifa are foundational and fixed? And what part of Ifa are open for evolution, sir?
Thank you. I love that question. You see, I just have to sincere with you. For example, when we are talking about initiation, Itefa, it is fixed. It is fixed. We can't say we want evolution to happen. So Itefa, it is necessary for you to use ewúrẹ́, òbúkọ, àtọ́jú eku, àtọ́jú ẹja, àtọ́jú ẹyẹ, a gbọ́dọ̀ ní Olúwo. There must be Ojúbọ̀nà, there must be Yanifa, there must be Babaláwo. We should not say because people are not available, let's manage 2 people to do Itefa. So we should try to subjugate Yanifa, we should subjugate Ojúbọ̀nà. In as much we have one Babalawo, so we can do Itefa. You know, that is not Itefa. Because you are not trying to do what is needful. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that Itefa, Idafa, those they are static. There's no way we can try to change some things there. Even though the way we do things, we can try to maneuver some things, but if we want to do it the way it was and we want the expected result to be felt, we need to do the way it was. Now, the way we chant Ifa, ṣé mọ̀ pé nígbà wáṣẹ̀, Ifa is purely Yoruba. Now, in this errand of ours, we cannot chant Ifa with English. It depends if you know how to make translation. But láàrin mi àti yín, tẹ́ bá kí Ifá lóyìnbó kò lè dùn ó. Energy yẹn tó dẹ̀ wá ńbẹ̀, the spiritual essence kìíní yẹn, ẹ lè fílẹ̀ o. A lè fílẹ̀ o. Ifá ní ká fọ̀ tún wẹ̀ òsì, ká fòsì wé ọ̀tún, ká fọwọ́ wẹwọ́ lọ́wọ́ fi mọ́, ẹja sọ lóyìnbó. We should use right hand towards left hand. Well, me, I'm not linguistic. So àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn linguistic àmọ́ bí wọ́n á ṣe sọ. But kò sí bá a ṣe lè rí ká sọ tó náà, kò sí bá a ṣe lè rí ká sọ pé a sọ tó náà, nearest meaning ló máa fún wa, kò ní fún wa ní deep meaning. Tá a bá dẹ̀ ti lè rí deep meaning yẹn, the spiritual essence tí kíní yẹn tó carry yẹn à ní fẹ́ tẹ̀. Lẹ́sìn máa gbọ́ tí wọ́n sọ pé ẹni tó bá fẹ́ ṣe Ifá kó gbọ́ Yorùbá ni. That is why tẹ́ ṣe rí àwọn òyìnbó yẹn tán ṣe ń kọ́ Yorùbá lágídí, because wọ́n mọ̀ wípé Ifá yẹn àwọn ò lè rí practice táwọn ò bá gbọ́ Yorùbá. Àwọn ò lè rí practice táwọn ò bá ti gbọ́ Yorùbá. You can only try to chant, you can only try to give the coded message that Ifa contain. You can only give the coded message in English.
Okay.
But if you
online,
Ma.
online.
Ṣáwọn èèyàn ń gbọ́ mi?
Yes, ma.
So in order not to squander much of our time, Ifa is fixed. It is fixed. So there's no part of Ifa that can be evolved. Ifá fún ara ẹ̀ ló ti yíra rẹ̀ nígbà ayé ara rẹ̀, because Ifá gangan ti rí so many things. Bí àpẹẹrẹ ọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ tí mo sọ, Ifá ti mọ̀ wípé nígbà ayé àwọn Ọ̀rúnmìlà gan, àwọn adẹ́jà gan ò pọ̀ ńgbà yẹn. Adẹ́jà unbelievers kò tí pọ̀ ńgbà yẹn gan tó ń láfi ní ẹ̀wò ẹja máa dápẹ̀lẹ̀. Tá a bá dápẹ̀lẹ̀ fún yàn tí ò bá rúbọ kò sí wàhálà. So anything tó bá fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ yóò wà ní àwọn bítà kan tí evolution ti lè ṣẹlẹ̀ ní items we use for ẹbọ. And mi ráyè explain kí ní ẹ̀dá lẹ́ẹ̀kan ni improvisation. If you are improvising any ingredient láti fi ṣẹbọ, make sure pé kíní yẹn ó ní the same significant, ó ní the same energy pẹ̀lú original gangan. For example, as a result of increase in demand, e-goat òbúkọ ìbílẹ̀ wa gangan kò pọ̀ mọ́ dáadáa báyìí. Òbúkọ àwọn mùsòrò àwọn Haúsá yẹn wọ́n ti ń lò láti fi ṣẹbọ báyìí. Òbúkọ àwọn Haúsá yẹn wọ́n ti ń lò láti fi ṣẹbọ báyìí. Ẹyin lá ò ṣe mọ́, màálù ló kù táwọn èèyàn ń lò báyìí. Meaning that tí mo bá dé Amẹ́ríkà tí máa fẹ́ ṣẹbọ, ṣé mọ̀ pé abo ẹdìẹ ìbílẹ̀ wa yàtọ̀ sí abo ẹdìẹ tẹ́ máa rí ńbẹ̀ yẹn, broilers lẹ máa rí ńbẹ̀ yẹn. A máa lò ó. Reason tá a ṣe máa lo broiler yẹn náà ni wípé òun náà ń ṣàbíamọ, abo dẹ̀ ni, a máa lò ó. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ìyẹn wá yàtọ̀ sí wípé ká wá sọ wípé okay o, a nílò ẹbọ ẹdìẹ mọ́ o, ká wá nǹkan míì tó different tí ò sí ní context yẹn. Meaning that Ifá it is fixed, ó ti wà fixed. Ifá kò sí kankan tá a fẹ́ dọ́gbọ́n sí níbi bẹ̀, kò sí nǹkan kan tá a fẹ́ dọ́gbọ́n sí níbẹ̀. Bá a ṣe sọ pọ́làjú dé tá à ń tún lè Ifá ṣe, tá à ń kún lè Ifá ní ọ̀dà, tá à ń fix AC síbi bẹ̀, ìkìn Ifá wa náà la sì tún máa gbé síbẹ̀. A máa tún pẹ̀jẹ̀ síbi bẹ̀, a sì máa tún pa ẹ̀jẹ̀ síbẹ̀ náà, a kàn máa tún nà lásán ni. À ń ṣe online Ifá class. Kí ni nǹkan tá à ń kọ́? Ifá yẹn náà là ń kọ́. Ifá yẹn náà là ń kọ́. So Ifá ó ti wà structured. Ifá is structured. Ifá is organized. Ó ti wà structured. Ó ti wà organized. Ó ti wà fixed. So kò sí nǹkan kan tó ṣe manipulate àbí tó ṣe tá a lè sọ pé a fẹ́ scrutinize níbi bẹ̀. Ó kàn jẹ́ pé bá a ṣe ń ṣe nìkan la lè òbí òkè ọgbọ́n wo la lè dá tó fi máa rọrùn. Irú nísìnyí tí bá fẹ́ ṣẹbọ fún yàn, ẹ máa ṣẹbọ ní fídíò call. Ẹni yóò ní láti wá jókòó síwájú yín. But pẹ́ni yẹn ò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ́ ṣe fídíò call yẹn, in tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ ṣe gangan tó bá wà ń bẹ̀ náà lẹ̀ ń ṣe lẹ́yìn rẹ̀. Ẹ kàn try láti fi fídíò call yẹn láti fi limit stress ẹni yẹn lè go through. Torí pé mo fẹ́ fi òbúkọ kan rúbọ fún yàn kíníkẹ́ni ẹ wá láti Amẹ́ríkà. Ẹ jọ kò make sense now. Kò make sense. So òyìnbó ti sọ ayé dẹ̀rọ̀. Already nígbà ayé bàbá wa wọn ẹ̀yìn kan kò tiẹ̀ ní pé wọ́n ní fídíò call. àti bá yín ṣẹbọ yẹn àti ṣe náà ni bọ̀ nísìnyìí òkè torí pé a fẹ́ kárí àwọn èèyàn along a fẹ́ kẹ́nìyẹn náà rí nǹkan tẹ́ ṣe fún un òkè ẹnìyàn á pè yín ní fídíò call but fídíò call tó pè yẹn kò change ẹbọ tẹ́ fẹ́ rú the way bó ṣe yẹ kẹ́rù náà lẹ ṣe máa rú ẹ kàn fi fídíò call yẹn kàn fi bring connection láàrin yín ni ẹ kàn jẹ́ kẹ́nìyẹn kàn rí nǹkan tẹ́ ń ṣe fún ni kò ṣe pé bóyá epo tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ lò kọ́ lẹ́ lò ọtí tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ lò kọ́ lẹ́ lò ọpọ́n tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ fi rúbọ kọ́ lẹ́ lò ó ní àwé kan tó ń ṣẹbọ nínú private jet òkè ó kàn ṣẹbọ nínú private jet ni ẹ̀kọ́ tó yẹ kó fi rúbọ náà ló fi rúbọ ọpọ́n ifá tó yẹ kó lò náà ló lò ìyẹ̀rọ̀sùn tó yẹ kó lò náà ló lò so gbogbo nǹkan ti wà fix ṣé a máa sọ pé ayé dayọ̀ làjú ìyẹ̀rọ̀sùn fá ká má lò mọ́ ni àbí ọpọ́n fá ká má lò mọ́ so gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá à ń lò yẹn ló ti ifá ti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ ló dùfá kọ̀ọ̀kan tó báàkì kọ̀ọ̀kan up every practice and practices that we do in Ìṣẹ̀ṣe most especially in Ifa are being governed and being supported by Odufa ló jẹ́ pé Odufa ni point of reference wa if Babalawo say something and he is unable to back it up with Ifa we consider such a statement as being fallacy or friction kò sí nǹkan Babalawo èèyàn lè sọ̀rọ̀ kéèyàn má mọ Odufa tó sọ but tẹ́ bá wẹ̀kọ̀ fadada you will see an Odufa that will back it up tó máa jẹ́ point of reference nǹkan yẹn Ifá ló mànà Ifá ló mòní Ifá ló mọ̀la Ifá ló mọjọ́ mẹ́rin òòṣà dálé ayé ìyẹ̀rọ̀sùn tá à ń lò Ifá ti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìyẹ̀rọ̀sùn yèèpẹ̀ tá a fi ń dáfá ó nífá tó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa rẹ̀ kí tẹ bá fẹ́ ṣe ìtẹ̀fá fún yẹn o tó dùfá ó bá wò ó níbi yèrèpẹ̀ ní kẹ́ ẹ ti tẹ̀fá rẹ o so gbogbo nǹkan kọ̀ọ̀kan ló ti ní bá a ṣe lè ṣe é so mi mọ̀ bí aláyé mi yé.
Baba mi ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ sà.
Yes ma.
So I would be right to say that we are not afraid of evolution because we want to control Ifa, but because of its sacredness. That's one. And I want to ask 2 questions after this so that I down Google. Can we retain the depth of memorization in Ifa while also introducing proper documentation? Bí a ṣe máa ń kọ́ àkọ́ Ifá sórí bí a dẹ̀ ṣe máa tún document nísìn proper documentation for future references. Then báwo ni àwọn babaláwo ẹ̀yin babaláwo wa àti àwọn modern scholars bí wọ́n ṣe lè work together to document Ifá to expand it for future references also?
You see, like
those are my questions, sir.
Yeah, like I said initially that there's difference between Babalawo and Ifa devotees. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn náà ló ṣe máa kọ́fá sórí, but the basic knowledge of Ifa, we all should try and acquire it. Ó ní mo ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ literacy education lẹ́ẹ̀kan, Baba Kaliba.
Ẹ má bínú jàre, ẹ má bínú mo kí gbogbo ilé ẹ jẹ́ kí mi sáré dáhùn ìbéèrè kẹ́yìn ìpàdé.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to talk after we speak. Mo kí gbogbo ilé ìyá mi ìbí dùn mo kí ìyá mi kú mo kí gbogbo ilé.
Bàbá mi kalẹ̀.
Mo kí Ifá ní tata tí yẹn ti pẹ́ kó àti àlàkẹ́rẹ́ ẹni. Owó ọlá ajé adé báwa. Let me answer that question real quick before our intellectual intelligence Babalawo speak. Because once you speak, I won't be able to talk anymore. And that's based on respect. You're about your respect and principles. You're talking about how can we learn Ifa, and also document it. And I will come from a Onisheshe devotee or Ifa devotee and not from a Babalawo perspective. Be amazing, and people saying I'm also documenting it. You understand? It's based on individual perspective. And quote me wrong, back in those days, in fact, tí àwọn márùn bá ń kọ́ Ifá lọ́wọ́, tí babaláwo bá fún ọ ní ìdánwò, ẹni tó bá gba ìdánwò yẹn ló máa proceed àwọn yòókù yẹn ó máa rán gbàdá sí lẹ́yìn. That means you have to be able to memorize it, repeat it back word for word. òun náà tí mo bẹ́ ṣe ń pa àṣẹ ta ni olúwo Ifá yẹn ẹ̀bọ̀ wo lọ́ lò ń bẹ̀ ètùtù wo lọ́ lò ń bẹ̀ word for word as how the Babalawo or as how the olúwo teaches you. Those are those ones that become Babalawo because now they are able to memorize it. And also, Babawa, there's a science called Isoye. So it's scientific advancement that we have in Yoruba.
Brain booster.
Brain booster. You see, and when you put in shade, they're doing it into a pill. But we've had this multiple years, hundreds of years ago. You know, so you want there. And if you know your brain is not capable enough, it's okay. It might not be your path. What you can do is you can take an aspect in Ifa that interests you. Like I'm not studying Ifa to become a Babalawo. I'm studying Ifa because of the science and technology I see in it. You can also do that. You can document it. And let's also remember, my documentation will be different from other people's documentation. So individual documentation is based on individual's perspective. So yes, you can learn and memorize it. And yes, you can also document it based on today. Nobody they don't prepare me with don't but we was a lot of people won't go to Ifasile. What they memorize it.
So kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lọ. So it is not everybody that will be able to memorize the entire Odufa. So ló jẹ́ kí n sọ wípé we should be able to differentiate between Ifa devotees and Babalawo. Babalawo, they are the scholars. tó jẹ́ wípé the archive of Ifá will be in their memory. Wọ́n ṣe máa sọ pé àìgbọ́fá là ń wò kí Ifá kò sí ní para. So Ifá compendium. So àwọn babaláwo gbogbo tó jẹ́ the knowledge of Ifá will be in their memory, in their brain. That is babaláwo for you. But àwọn tó bá jẹ́ Ifá devotees in tó jẹ́ the basic principles, the basic knowledge tá a fi sọ pé ọmọ káàárọ̀ òjìrè làwa náà wọ́n á mọ̀ yẹn normal things normal nìyẹn kò lè burúburú ní àjọ awogun máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ńbẹ̀ tó pé àwọn kan wà tó jẹ́ wípé àwọn ò rílì mọ́fá tó pọ̀ ní tiwọn wọn rílì mọ́fá tó pọ̀ but tẹ́ bá ní kán ṣe wúre wọn á lè ṣe. So babaláwo are documenting Ifá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni we were documenting it à ń document Ifá ọ̀nà tá à ń gbà document náà ni pé irú èmi nísìnyìí ó ní yọmawo tí mo ní. In fact I have an Ifá class tó jẹ́ wípé àwọn èèyàn wà ńbẹ̀ tó ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ Ifá níbi bẹ̀ free ni ọ̀fẹ́ ni free of charge ni tó jẹ́ wípé gbogbo pa bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà kò tíì ju ọdún kan lọ àti ń tún lọ àti kò lójú odù so àti ń lọ àpúlà ọ̀yẹ̀kú. We were doing it for free. So in one way or the other and document Ifá náà nìyẹn you know. Nípa ìtàn I as a filmmaker, so most of my story that I did it's based on Ifá. So à ń kọ̀wé à ń kọ write up síta fáwọn èèyàn kan lè rí. So people are writing books, different books wà níta táwọn èèyàn ti kọ so ara àwọn ọ̀nà tá à ń gbà fi document Ifá nìyẹn. So ó ní ẹgbẹ́ kan Ìṣẹ̀ṣe assembly they do something called the Wúre Ojúmọ́. So episode wọ́n á ti ṣe episode wọn tó 500 episodes. So babaláwo yẹn máa ṣe wúre á dẹ̀ kí Ifá ṣe á ṣe wúre á dẹ̀ kí Ifá ṣe á ṣe wúre á dẹ̀ kí Ifá ṣe. That is another means of documenting Ifá. So tẹ́ bá wo àwọn application náà wà àwọn èèyàn ti ṣe audio book tó jẹ́ pé you can be working and you will be listening to Ifá. Àwọn èèyàn ṣe orin tó jẹ́ pé nínú orin wọn Ifá typically ni orin tí wọ́n kọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kí olórin gbajúgbajà Nice wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ álbọ̀mù kan láìpẹ́ yìí tó jẹ́ pé álbọ̀mù yẹn wọ́n kọ orin èṣù wọ́n kọ orin ẹgbẹ́ wọ́n kọ orin ẹ̀rìgìláwà àgbàsà Ifá aróhun ẹbọ you know. That is another means of documenting Ifá. So we were documenting it. So, but the purpose of the documentation is to preserve it, to prevent Ifá from going into extinction. Torí pé nǹkan tá a bá dáàbò bò á padà parun ni. 100 bẹ́ẹ̀ ni èèyàn wa 100 Benny Lee àtàwọn olórin míì náà tí wọ́n tún ń kọrin tí wọ́n ń kọrin tí wọ́n ń kọrin tó yẹ pé Ifá ni nǹkan tó ń kọrin yẹn lé lórí. Do we get it? So but nǹkan ta ní láti understand ni wípé babaláwo is different from Ifá devotees olùsìn ọ̀pẹ. Ẹ lè expect olùsìn ọ̀pẹ kó mọ gbogbo Ifá púpọ̀ o, but babaláwo tán bá pè ẹ́ ní babaláwo a kó Ifá sórí ẹ̀ ni o. Babaláwo náà lè document Ifá sílẹ̀ náà o, but àwa tá a bá jẹ́ olùsìn a ní láti stress ara wa, but n tó jẹ́ basic àyàn gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀. Mo sọ fún wa pé literacy education kọ́ wa ní ability to read and write and make simple calculation. Ó yàtọ̀ sẹ́ni tó wá lọ sí professional courses ní university, ní polytechnic àbí ní college of education. So I don't know if bóyá ìdáhùn yẹn ti tẹ́ ya ìbí dùn bí ó ti tẹ́ wọn lọ́rùn mà.
Ti memorization of Ifá ìdáhùn yẹn tẹ́ mi lọ́rùn, but mo sọ kọ́kọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan mo ní I will be right to say that we are not afraid of evolution because we want to control Ifá. Fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Ifá kàn wá láàrin àwa Yorùbá àbí nǹkan àbí àárín àwọn èèyàn kan, but because of its sacredness. But that's why if we cannot evolve some part, maybe we want to innovate some things in Ifá, like our foundational part of Ifá. That's one. And number two is ẹ mọ̀ pé wọ́n máa ní Ifá máa ń sá lọ. Pé tí babaláwo bá ń fọ́ máa ń Ifá máa ń sá lọ. So ẹlòmíì lè kàn lórí èjì pé kí babaláwo mí náà kàn. Báwo ni wọ́n ṣe máa come together? How can they come together to have a proper documentation, just like maybe an archive tó kàn máa lójú kan tẹ́ pé máa jẹ́ pé púpọ̀ náà àpapọ̀ àwọn babaláwo pẹ̀lú àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n scholars wa, we can have the Yoruba part and the English version of it, just for future references.
Ọ̀rọ̀ ń yé mi ìyá mi, Ifá pọ̀ jù yẹn lọ.
Expand on what she's asking, because one of the things that we have tried to discuss in the past is into the future, hopefully, a way of incorporating the Ifa educational system and things on Ifa into our elaborate contemporary academic structure. That would be primary school, university. We should find a way. Maybe we should IRK and CRK. Do you agree with the idea of us having something that will represent Ifa there, probably in a near future, where we can get hold of our government and control what is being disseminated to our younger generation? Should we have a system where Ifa can be the replacement of the education that can be given to them in some certain ways? And if that is going to be the case, is there, because a lot of all these ways of documenting Ifa currently is diverse and is different individuals taking up the initiative to do so. Is there a way we can come together? Is there a way the Babalawos can come together and make a document that addresses a lot of what is contained in Ifa and document it? And that would be like I don't want to use a Bible, but that would be like the holy grail of the Ifa literary purpose for our next generation. Instead of having to, maybe you going to read one book from somebody that wrote his own. And you know that when a single person writes some things about Ifa, it's usually open to their own interpretation of what Ifa is, and it can be open to distortion too. So is there a way that there will be a collective of Babalawo that will come together and document these things so that it can be available to the public, and that will be like the standard document and literature on Ifa for the population?
Yes, I understand what you are trying to say. It is easy to do that. It is easy to do that. But, we can't say this particular book, that is the entire Odufa. Because Ifa knowledge, it is unlimited. For example, if we are trying to chant a Jiobe, I may chant 50. Another person, educated stream, might chant 20. Another person might chant 30. Now, assuming we've now restricted the fact that, okay, this is the book that we all agree to be using, and inside this book it only contains 10 Ejiobe. You know that one alone will cause a lot of controversy. But if we are trying to prepare Ifa for academic purpose, it is easy. There is something we call there are some people we call the curriculum planners. Curriculum planners, they will be the one who we sit down, decide, okay, what are the scheme of work that we want the educational practice to contain. For example, okay, identification of a 416 Odufa, okay, the naming of the rest 140 Odufa, okay, Ejiobe to Oyekumeji. That should be for the range of first term. Okay, for the another term, they should be able to learn from Odimeji to Rosumeji. What I'm saying in essence is that if we are trying to design Ifa for educational purpose, there's a way of doing it. There's a way of doing it, and it will be easy. In fact, we have a lot of elites, we have a lot of educators among the Babalawo and Olorisas who will sit down, prepare the curriculum. Yet, that will not limit the knowledge of Ifa in one archive. It is impossible. The knowledge is Ifa, it is continuum. Ìmọ̀ tó pọ̀ ni, a lè kójọ tán. A lè kójọ tán. Babaláwo Ọ̀yọ́ gan-an, a lè kó fájọ tán lọ́yọ̀ọ́. Talkless of a fẹ́ bọ́ sí Ìbàdàn, a fẹ́ bọ́ sí Òṣogbo, a fẹ́ bọ́ sí gbá iwájú, a fẹ́ bọ́ sẹ́yìn. Don't forget that Ifa, it is word of Elédùmarè, and Elédùmarè is complex. Ọba tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ tán ni. Ọba tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ tán ni. So we will only you can only do your best and leave the rest. A lè sọ pé gbogbo Ejiobe ó yẹ já kó gbogbo ẹjọ́ tán. Ifá ti sọ fún wa pé ọba tó ṣẹ̀dá ayé ò fìdí ayé ẹnìkan fún ojú ọ̀bẹ nìkan gbé. Ọba tó ṣẹ̀dá ayé kò fìdí ayé ẹnìkan. Ifá dẹ̀ sọ pé ọlọ́gbọ́n kan ò lè gbẹ́ngbẹ́ngbẹ́n kó ta kókó mi sí tí a sọ. Mọ̀rànmọ̀ràn kan ò lè mọ iyẹ̀pẹ̀ lẹ̀. So Ifá, it is like a sand. Iyẹ̀pẹ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ a lè kójọ tán. We will only do it. A máa sọ pé according to, for example, according to Professor Wande Abimbola, wọ́n kọ̀wé tiwọn. According to Araba Ibadan, wọ́n kọ̀wé tiwọn. Okay, if the entire Babalawo in Ọ̀yọ́, àwa náà bá fẹ́ kọ̀wé Ifá, we be saying according to Babalawos in Ọ̀yọ́. But kí gbogbo the entire gbogbo Babalawo lágbàáyé ká wá sọ pé ìwé kan ṣoṣo ni o. Ó lè á fẹ́ difficult díẹ̀ because tí ìwé yẹn ń sọ ni wípé ẹni babaláwo tó bá ti kí Ifá tí ò bá sí nínú ìwé yẹn irọ́ ló kì, kò dẹ̀ rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Kò dẹ̀ rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ló fi jẹ́ wípé Ifá, it is oral literature. Ewì àtẹnudẹ́nu ni. Documentation tá à ń ṣe, it is just a means of preserving, of conserving it, of documenting it. Documentation yẹn gangan kọ́ ni original gangan. Wọ́n sọ pé tọwọ́ ọmọ la máa ń gbà, a kì í gba tinú ọmọ. Inú ni Ifá ń gbé. Inú ni Ifá ń gbé. So tá a bá ṣe documentation wa, a fi conserve ni o. Kò ṣe pé gbogbo Ifá yẹn pátápátá la ti kó pamọ́ yẹn. Kò kí ń ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀. And tó bá dẹ̀ di wípé we have been working towards it, Ifá ó dẹ̀ fún wa ṣe. À ń gbìyànjú bá a ṣe lè gbé Ifá. Yorùbá wà lọ́tọ̀. Yorùbá dàbí English language, ó dàbí French ni. But à ń try bá a ṣe fẹ́ gbé Ifá, Ifaology, the study of Ifá, bá a ṣe fẹ́ gbé wọ curriculum school, in as much tí wọ́n ti fún wa ní holidays ẹ̀ ṣe. Àwọn tó jẹ́ scholars, àwọn tó jẹ́ educator nínú wa, we are trying. À ń wo bá a ṣe fẹ́ gbé Ifá láti elementary level, láti primary school, tó dẹ̀ ṣe máa wọ secondary school, tá a ṣe máa gbé Ifá wọbẹ̀. Tí wọ́n á bèèrè lọ́wọ́ yín náà ni pé kí ni curriculum yín? Curriculum tó wà tó good, tó fine, tó look robust fún educational purpose. Ó wà dáadáa tá a máa design tó fine gan. Tó yẹ wípé táwọn ọmọ fi máa parí tó fi máa parí primary school wọn, continuity rẹ̀ wọ́n á lọ bá pàdé ní GSS 1. Wọ́n á dẹ̀ tún ṣe dé tó fi máa parí GSS 3 wọn. We believe wípé tọ́mọ bá fi lè kọ́ Ifá láti primary school tó fi dé secondary school, ó gbúdọ̀ lè sọ nípa Ifá. A lè sọ nípa Ifá. so mi mọ̀ bóyá àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yìí mi mọ̀ bóyá ó make sense but ká sọ pé a fẹ́ document gbogbo fá gbogbo èjì ogbè inú ìwé kan gbogbo ọ̀yọ̀kú méjì tó wà láyé inú ìwé kan gbogbo òdì méjì tó wà láyé ká kò lè a lè rí ṣe tábàlà fẹ́ ṣe bí pa kan parọ́ lásán ni a lè rí ṣe because ifá odù fá pọ̀ gan àwọn tó ń jẹ́ bàbá wa tó ń kọ́ wa ń fá gan tẹ́ bá tún kí fá mi gbà mí wọ́n á ní mo gbọ́ fàyèrè ó kárí ọmọ ìyá ó gbọ́ àtọ́ ẹ so ẹ̀kọ́ fá it is ifá gbọ́ fá gan. Yes, sir.
ẹ má bẹ̀rù pé àwọn míì kan sì wọ́n máa ń kọ́ ifá lójú àlá táwọn èèyàn míì ò mọ̀ rárá.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni arọnimọjà akọ́mọ ní fojú àlá gbogbo àtọ́ o. mi náà kí yín bàbá mi gbogbo àtọ́ o.
I just quickly want to add up a bit to what I've actually been explained by our Baba.
Baba, why join?
Hello?
Baba, why increase the volume in here, sir?
Oh, okay. Yeah, how about now? Am I audible now? She audible now.
Yeah, well, audible, but other question, can you?
Okay, right. Is it okay now?
Hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The first thing I actually quickly want to say is this: Ifa has its own structure, and we shouldn't take that away from Ifa. Our ancestors, in their own magnificence, in their own wisdom and understanding, they structured Ifa. That what we need is so we can walk in line with the laid down structure, so that we wouldn't lose some vital or important aspects of Ifa. We had some schools that have been even created by our Babas, the schools of Ifa, where you can learn Ifa and all of that. They had their own curriculum where you can actually follow to learn Ifa. The things you do to learn from probably Ethiopia, to this, to that, there are steps where you have to follow. So they already had a curriculum even before these are present generations.
Yes.
Our ancestors, in their own wisdoms, want to share curriculum in select. So all you need is to go to an existing babalawo to mo wípé go to this school, they will teach you the steps and then the modality to follow in order to be an Ifa student, or probably your main purpose, your main reason of wanting to learn Ifa or to be an Ifa priest. They have the curriculum over established even before our present days. They've actually had the curriculum. So now what we can do, it is never a problem fixing if our Baba should be called right now. But okay, how can we bring this Ifa knowledge into our school curriculum, the Western education curriculum? Even they have some formats on grant. But the problem is, despite several attempts by our Babas to let our government, let them seize into these things, the reasons and the purpose why we younger generation really need to know more about Ifa, the importance of Ifa, but they keep turning it down. They keep turning down the efforts. And that is the reason why you see most of our Babas ended up setting up their own school, their own personal school. Or if possible, probably at least 2-3 people from the community can join. We can move on from there, pending the time. Probably over time, the government, they will be able to see the light and come to the light of the realization, like we really need the knowledge of Ifa, like it's been done in other parts of the country and other parts of the world, that we really need Ifa. But at the moment, the government are turning a blind eye to it. It is not like our Baba or the confederations of Ifa priests or Ifa devotee all over the world are not making the move. We are really, really making the move. But because of this colonialism, the colonial mentality, the religious sentiment, they keep turning a blind eye to that. Now, the second part I actually want to talk about to buttress my Baba is the aspect of putting Ifa in a book. It has actually been a major concern of the younger generation getting to wanting to know more about Ifa. Like, why can't Ifa be so much accessible? Like the case of the Christian Bible, the Muslim Bible. How come the Ifa books? We don't have something like Ifa books. There are several books on various subjects by various Ifa priests all over the world that I can start counting that you can have on your bookstore that actually talks about Ifa. From the school of Ifa, if you are just joining, they've actually had a curriculum where they know, okay, these are the basic things. We can actually teach a younger boy at kékeré Latin kọ́fà. Okay, ọmọ onífà ni mo fẹ́ kọ́ ẹ nífà láti kékeré. They have a system. Don't fi máa kọ́ wọn. So such things can also be incorporated into our systems. Basic informations about Ifa, probably in the light of, let's say, science, in the light of technology, in the light of, let's say, pharmacy, in the light of medicine. There are books that can be written on that. But putting the whole informations of Ifa in a book. The last time I checked, like the last move we make when we were trying to make an argument, such argument as well, we came to realize, okay, let's say we decided like we want to document every facets of Ifa that we have all over the world. We want to document it in the book. It means we'll be having something that will be as big
instead of
as
casting in Ifa, there should be an application
in
that
form
should be
of
able to
19
cast Ifa
places.
for us.
A
If
Bible
you
times
use an
19.
application to cast
So
Ifa
now,
for
like
yourself,
you're
I'm
saying,
telling you,
Babalawo
you will
Ifa
see a
Shoto
good
now,
result.
it's carrying a volume of information that is as big as Bible in 19 places in its head. So of what importance would that be to a common man on the street? So that's the reason why we came to the realization like it is very important. Let us put the basic information
Don't
of
forget that
Ifa on
Ifa,
the mainstream,
there is a
on
principle.
books. Baba Ifa Shoto can decide tomorrow, oh, let me help them based on my experiences of teaching people about Ifa. Let me journal things down for younger generation when they're coming. What is the purpose of Ethiopian? What is the purpose of Otunukwan? Okay, let me take 2 verses from the old chapter of Otunukwan. Let me use it to explain to people at least the concept. Now, a younger boy, a younger girl can pick up such books and read it. Umawa decide, like, oh, I really want to have an in-depth. Then you make a move to the Babalawo. Like, I really want to know the in-depth of this. What is being called Ifa. From your book, I saw, oh, you only explain with 2 verses. And out of the voluminous chapters you have on your head of Ifa and all of that. So Baba cannot decide, okay, these are the templates. Our ancestor, what if you see that we go through the templates, these are the so over time, you become a lover of it. Over time, you see yourself as Ifa. You see the Ifa in you. You are becoming Ifa. So you will not be a betrayer to the purpose and the missions why our ancestors actually came up with the idea of that Ifa, like putting it together, decoding it through the binary system. Okay, let's put it like this. Okay, like this. And that is the reason why when you meet an average Babalawo, you see them in nature, they are naturally meek. Kò sí bó ṣe máa go through that voluminous teaching over time tó jẹ́ wípé everything about you will change, it will change. But tán bá kàn ti sọ di nǹkan tó jẹ́ wípé tajá tẹran every bit and bit they will go into it, they will learn it, and wọ́n lè máa ṣílò to the disadvantage of the community and the society. And if not well checked, wọ́n máa padà wọ́n máa ní Ifá ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe nǹkan burúkú, Ifá ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe ilé, Ifá ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe tán. So there is a system we want to create to curb such acts. By the time, even if you are not told by any good intention for wanting to learn Ifá, by the time Probably might go through first stage, what's the second stage, third stage, you are already in Ifá. Ifá it will become part and parcel of you. So you wouldn't have any issue like to go out of Ifá bóyá odi babaláwo tó wá decide láti lọ máa hùwà burúkú. It will not happen. So they actually have a structure. But the reason why I'm saying this is the basic